What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 274. I am your host, Ainsley Bowden, and we are here with our Thanksgiving holiday episode. The guys are ready, roaring to go. Hoag's rocking the Michigan hat. Dan's got the Yakuza shirt going. I like it.
Dr. Pepper.
Travis
is important part of his uniform, the Dr. Pepper.
This is true.
Right.
This is true.
Yeah.
Travis is wearing a tie. You may not have expected that, but he's got one on today. I like it.
Look at that knot.
Hand.
Travis is so good at tying ties.
And knitted. You've got that between the colors and the pattern there. You've got the you kind of got that retro look going on.
I was
like
going
late
for
70s, early 80s.
I had him as math professor. No,
I was going for autumnal. Actually, was the yeah
autumnal.
I
A word,
got
by the
that.
way, that's not used enough, in my opinion.
Not used enough, nearly enough. Yeah.
We are right on time here at 11:06 this morning. I hope everyone is doing well. Gentlemen, how we doing this morning? Good Thanksgiving?
it's been a great Thanksgiving. What's not to love?
I know.
Had a lot of people to thank. I'm alive, and Michigan remains undefeated. What a year!
The dichotomy between I'm alive and Michigan is undefeated. I love how those rank for you.
If you
that they're
had to
so
only
close
choose
together.
one, though, you had to choose one of those things, which that might be hard for him. I don't know.
I would rather be alive,
Okay, wow, good to know.
but I have to.
We'll
barely-
remember that one.
barely.
He loses. Yeah.
As a person that was watching his blood pressure all year, yesterday was a trip. So I tried not to engage emotionally with the Michigan-Ohio State game and failed. So
you did.
It was very much me and a blood pressure cuff sitting in front of a TV.
What are you looking for in your blood pressure? I'm interested in this. Is it spikes that you're afraid of?
Mine will creep up, but I'm on meds, so if they creep up too far, it's really bad.
Okay.
No, I have normal requests in my blood pressure, 125, 85, something like that.
Okay. Nice. Good to know.
That's normal.
Yeah, I mean, like for a person that had a hemorrhagic stroke.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking at, Dan? That answer definitely scares me for you. I feel like maybe you should learn a little bit more about blood pressure. Is my next recommendation.
Well, like, every time I go to the doctor, I'm like, oh, that's about right for me. So, like,
What's for me?
you're about the same. Yeah.
As long as
I don't
for
know.
me
It's like-
keeps moving in the direction of your blood pressure, absolutely.
it was higher than that. Let's just say it was higher.
Yeah, and to be clear, when I show up in the emergency room, I have like a 220 or something on this.
Oh God, I'm never that
so
high.
like,
I'm usually like 145 over 100, I think. They're like,
Okay.
oh, you're right.
All
on
right, all right.
track.
You scare me, Dan. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. You're
That's
okay.
not terrible
Yeah, you'll be all right.
for a
You'll be
fat
all right.
dude.
Well, I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving here in the U.S. Of course. Gamefire says turkey or ham. Don't get him started. We're trying to start the episode without violence. All right.
Yeah.
It's
It's not.
Are we?
It's
first.
like sometimes you just when people say stuff like that, you're just like, I kind of feel sorry.
you're just
for
trying to
them,
get your goat. Like
I love
Ohio
that.
State is better than Michigan.
No, it's-
Michigan cheated
yeah,
all its
no.
wins. They're
Yeah,
just trying
exactly.
to get their goat.
I even went to the supermarket shopping for Thanksgiving and even sent Dan a nice picture where it said if you buy a ham you get a free turkey because they're just giving the turkeys away. No one cares about them. You know what I mean? So he understood. He understood.
No, I
I
didn't.
love how you said we're trying to start the episode without war. A resident pot stirrer said that on this
Yeah.
episode. The guy who regularly opens with something that's trying to piss
I
somebody
do.
off.
I do.
For the likes.
I'm sorry.
He's the real clickbait, you know.
It's true.
Talk about
It's true. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway,
I'm on ham. I'm on turkey 3, by the way. It's ready to go. Going over to the in-laws after this show, and it was a good Thanksgiving week. I celebrate all week. So
I was gonna say I've got to be honest with you. I've never heard of anyone celebrating on the Monday of Thanksgiving week.
Well,
he's
I mean,
very thankful. He's got a
here's
lot
the
to be
problem.
thankful
When lots of kids and they all work, you have to try to find that one day where like everybody's off, or at least most of them are, and you kind of have to fit it in where you can, and then we just do one for
It's
fun.
delicious. I'm not going to hear anyone say otherwise. And
What?
my wife has been making a stock for turkey soup for 2 days, so we're going to have some more turkey today.
Oh heck yeah, that's the best stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't go wrong. I fully agree with you. Can't go wrong. There's so much good food this week and leftovers and all the stuff you make with the leftovers. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Rob says I had Cornish game hens for Thanksgiving. My wife actually made those too.
I saw that.
So yeah, it's good stuff. Good
Must
stuff.
be nice.
Are those the ones where you just eat it whole? Like the
It's like the little chickens.
No, they're
No?
just like minis. Yeah, it's just
No.
minis.
I got you.
Eat it whole.
Yeah, you just eat the bones and all. Just go to town.
No.
They're small enough.
Let's let's go ahead and get started. Today we are it might be good if I had my notes up in front of me. You know, the thing I yell at these guys for.
I have your notes up there if it helps.
Yeah. So pretty quiet week in the gaming sphere. We're going to be doing a conversation around the forgotten games of the year. It's been, one of the best years for gaming ever. We talked about that plenty of times so far this year and all the releases. So we figure we'd go back through the year with, the year coming to its tail end with only a few more kind of releases coming to talk about the games that release that you might have forgotten about, games that have been overlooked, games that you love that, just have been forgotten about, like I said. Couple other things before we get to that, though, I wanted to make the group aware of. So for our audience, both audio listeners and everyone hanging out with us here today, of course, we want to do a special episode somewhere around the holidays. So next month or so, maybe New Year, something like that, where we're going to ask you, our audience, for 50 questions, or just write in your questions and I'll organize them, of course. But your questions for the four of us, it can be one of us, it can be all of us, it can be specific ones of us, any question you want. Doesn't have to be gaming related. It's more of a get to know the panel, have fun with the panel type of thing. We're going to do a special episode where I'll curate those and we'll go through all 50 questions. I'm going to curate them. I'm not going to tell these guys what the questions are ahead of time. I think that'll be more fun. Obviously, it goes without saying. I think our audience knows the level of appropriateness for our YouTube channels here, so keep it somewhat sane, please. But I'll be.
It never
I'll
hurts
let you
to
know.
repeat, right, folks? Yeah.
Yeah. Never hurts to remind. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to curate them anyway. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. I will let you know next week how best to get those to me. I was trying to think. I don't want a million DMs. I already get a bunch of DMs. I'm trying to figure out the best way. So let me. I'll probably set up like a Google sheet or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I'll let you know next week how to get those to us, and we'll do that. Like I said, somewhere around Christmas or the New Year. The other thing I want to mention is that Season Gaming is doing a honor show, kind of an award show type thing again. Not show, but thing on our site, basically. A little bit different than some of the other ones. We're going to have a little more fun with it. It is shockingly going to include all of 2023, maybe a weird concept. So we'll probably do that second week of January or so. But I'm going to do it as a combined thing between Season Gaming as a site and all the contributors and guys who write over there, as well as Bitcast. So it's going to be kind of a combined thing. These guys are going to put their votes and their picks in as well. So we'll have more
one of
on
the
that.
categories be best avatar game?
Was there more than one release this year?
Yes,
or will
there was.
Okay.
What?
All right.
There's the Last Airbender, which got a 4 out of 10 from IGN, and then Frontiers, which I assume is going to be.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was only thinking of Avatar, James
Well,
Cameron.
you got to think of the whole Avatar. Man. That's a rookie mistake right there.
So anyway, that should be a lot of fun as well. We'll probably have an episode where we talk through that early in January, like I said. But we want to make sure to include December releases as well. And of course, before we get to our super chats and our topics today, let's go ahead and take a look at Tide's picks. So I honestly didn't even know what the theme was here, Tide. I think obviously Hogue called out Fortnite, and apparently Dan has joined NSYNC, from what I can tell from this picture. The haircut, Dan. I think he
He looks more like Smash Mouth to me.
Oh yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, the guy that just died.
Yeah, he just died. So you could be the front man now, Dan. There's a spot.
Ains is still a skinhead. That hasn't changed. Just doing that in Fortnite this time.
Yeah, the haircut is interesting for sure.
I like that the AI is very specific about my moles on my arms. I don't know why.
Yeah, very specific.
Especially for someone that always wears a hoodie.
Oh, you got jacked in this photo.
Yeah, that is. I'm broad-chested.
Yeah, it's really good. This is Hogue if he didn't have his stroke and instead just started pumping iron every day for the past year. That's him.
I don't even think you can get a blood pressure cuff around that thing.
and I'm
Travis,
still
you
a
look
child.
like you're always a
Changed.
child.
Yep.
You look like, I don't know, what cartoon are you in? Some anime or something?
I actually think he looks like an Insomniac Spider-Man villain.
There you go.
Could, yeah, that would
Yeah.
work. Yeah, I'm
Which
Mysterio,
again, very accurate.
Mysterio and Spider-Man 2. I'm a fellow high schooler. That works. Yeah.
It's good stuff. Ty, thank you as always. Appreciate you. All right, we've got some super chats and some things to call out at the start of the episode. Shockingly, Googleman was not here first. He may be on holiday break. Instead, Vintage Willow's claiming first this week.
Yeah, just first.
Good job.
$5 super chat.
It's first.
Perfect.
Rock it in. Followed up by the weekly, which every week I say the same thing, but crazy 10 season gaming memberships. Thank you so much, Vintage Willow. Generosity is always appreciated. Can't say enough about it. So thank you. Shoosh.
Awesome.
€5 super chat.
Shoosh with the €5. Time to haunt host channel. How's everyone surviving Thanksgiving food coma? Doing good.
Well,
Good. Friday morning was rough. I drank way too much on Thanksgiving. Gotta be honest. Woke up
I had,
dehydrated as hell.
36 hours of adrenaline in one 3-hour window yesterday, so it was great.
Nice.
Yeah. But otherwise good. Dan's not done yet. So he's going into third food coma today. So
Yeah.
I'm just
Monday
trying
is
to avoid
recovery day.
real comas. That's my Thanksgiving tradition.
Staying alive.
It's just a cliche. I don't want anybody talking about how, I don't want my fiance to be like, yeah, but he's been in a coma for 7 years. We don't need that soap opera drama in our lives,
It's fair. Shoosh, thank you. Ash, back with the membership.
Go into like a 7-year coma, would she like prop you up at least and like have you on the show with us?
I don't
Like,
think so.
From bed? Come on.
I don't think so. Especially if it was a food coma. That's definitely, there's a joke in there somewhere about like, somebody getting in a food coma and like them filming it really dramatically and making it soapy. I'd love that.
We'll replace it with AI, Dan. It'd be fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably would be more human. To be honest.
Ash, membership over on Hoax channel. Thank you very much, Ash. Tal with the member comment. Good morning, Tal.
All right. Pernille is the right answer, and Dan agrees. Of course it is. This is what we do, Tal. Member for 12 months. Is that like you just like pay for the whole membership at once? I've never done a YouTube membership in my life.
No, it's a monthly thing. So
okay.
a few dollars a month just to support the
So
channel.
does that mean he's a member? He's been a member for 12 months?
He's been a member for 12 months, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
And did Against the Tide send you the alternates for me this week?
She always does. I just don't look at them until after the show. Yeah.
Great. Well, apparently the AI regularly thinks I'm a woman, which is not all that surprising. Great. Can't wait for you to post that one.
Yeah.
You're definitely those things would definitely be like on some like prison message boards somewhere with just your AI face for sure. Maybe your regular face too. I don't know.
Dan speaking from experience, by the way.
Yeah.
He took it in a direction I was not expecting.
Is this a come on? Is this a come on? I'm very confused.
We'll talk after the show.
You should see our DMs, guys. It's wild.
Plague Injected says Ty Girl Travis, which is actually my fiance's gamer tag.
Yeah, it's already taken.
It really is.
It's already taken. Yeah,
it really is.
It is her gamer tag. People are like, that doesn't make any sense. Her name isn't Travis. I'm like, I know. It doesn't make it. She also doesn't wear a tie. So.
Maybe she doesn't want you to know her name.
My wife goes by Mrs. Hoglaw on Twitter /X, and she was named in a lawsuit motion that was brought for a juror tampering claim that the juror's spouse had watched all these legal commentators, including Mrs. Hoglaw. And I'm like, I'm positive she did not comment on any of this. But there you go.
Wow. Shoosh became a member again as well. The Hoax side, thank you very much, Shoosh. And Googleman is here after all. You're late today, my friend.
Shut up. Nice. Better late than never. Started playing the Fractured But Whole. I know it's not popular as Baldur's Gate these days, but anyway, pickle pizza looks interesting. Let me tell you something. It is interesting. It's delicious.
No. No.
What is it, Godfather's? They have like a bacon cheeseburger pizza. They put pickles on it. It's amazing. It's actually
I
really
made an
good.
interesting pizza over this weekend.
Go.
I talked to somebody in the store, and they were from Australia, and they were like, in Australia, we bake pizza with garlic butter shrimp on it. And he just told me, like, you should try this. And I was like making personal pizzas that day, and I was like, okay. So I bought some shrimp and I cooked it up. It was pretty good, gotta say. It's a little like, weird for our palate, just because you don't really get that combo very much, but it was pretty good. I'd try it again. Yeah.
You're in San Francisco. They didn't think anything of it.
Yeah,
You're good.
just weird. Just try something weird.
Yeah, it's cool. Cool. I forget what I was gonna say now. Never mind. Googleman, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate you. All right. We started with food chat. Bitcast food chat. Oh, by the way,
we do.
speaking of food chat, Travis and I are discussing again about making this an annual tradition where we have a gaming themed bake off. So if you missed it last year, Travis and I did a Halo cookbook cook off, which turned out to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs with it. We're talking about doing Diablo this year. So there's a Diablo cookbook. Travis already has it. Did you get your copy?
I actually got my copy later that day when we were talking about it. Because
Okay.
I purred it like 8 months ago or whatever. You sent me the link to it, and it showed up, and I looked through it. I think the only problem is like a lot, because it's Diablo 4 themed. A lot of the food is like overly rustic. It's like just tons of stews, which aren't very interesting to show cooking. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like, hey, I made this mud in a bowl. It's like, all right, well, I don't know if it tastes good, but it looks like stew to me. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to find something in the recipe book that would actually look like appealing and show off my skill when I cook it.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm still.
Well, I don't
still
have any
studying.
skill.
So you can do stew, and even if it tastes terrible, it'll look right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fair.
Can't catch it on fire either, so that's nice.
It was the parchment paper.
You can burn stew. Damn.
Ow.
But it won't really show up in the photos. So
yeah,
that's true.
Well, I mean, we can always choose another game, but we don't. We can figure that out. Anyway,
you guys are free to join us. We can make it a
4-person.
Ains and I just did it because we weren't doing anything during the holidays last year. That was literally the only reason. We're like, hey, dude, you want to cook? But
you want to cook something? Sure.
Although I will say this, I feel like the caveat should be Ains was forced to do it alone. I know Mrs. Hoglaw's skill, and I feel like she would be an extremely unfair advantage to incorporate. So we would need verification that Hogue did it on his own, because that's some bullshit. That's juicing, bro. That's juicing. Getting the co-counsel involved.
That positivity.
Yeah, where's Papa Hogue? We need Papa Hogue to be the referee here to make sure that Mrs. Hogue's not involved for sure.
Yeah. And Dan, I'll just be able to tell if it was him who did it. So I feel like, that
won't be a problem.
Yeah,
it'll be deep fried.
If it's anything surrounding like barbecue or smoking food, we want to stay away from that because Dan will dominate. Yeah, you got to be careful.
Well, he gets to choose his own recipe. But
cake, make a cake. All right.
You have to make your cake look like Diablo.
Like Lilith, a Lilith cake.
Let's get some Denti Moore and pour it in a bowl and be like, look what I made.
Oh, that's right. Diablo's not in Diablo. I forgot.
It's true. This is true. One more super. That's true. One more super chat to get to from my good friend, Mr. HR Bomber.
Bomber, yes, we were talking about this on Twitter. The $2.50 super chat is EA College Football 24 still going to be a thing? I hope so, because it's superior in every way to Madden. It always has been.
Yeah, I mean, from a legal perspective, they're still working through the licensing issues. That's the main problem. But yeah, I'm sure that they could have a game out next year. It's just a question of whether they can get the appropriate licenses.
You're talking for the actual teams or like the...
It's primarily the players. The teams should go together, but as folks that watch college football know, the teams themselves are realigning into different conferences, and those conferences have to sign up to the licenses for a video game like this. And so, like, where does Oregon sign? Not with the Pac-12, with the Big Ten. And yes, folks, I know the Big Ten is going to have 18 teams next year, It is what it is. Higher education in America. What do you want?
I once had my good friend here who went to Mizzou and diehard Mizzou fan, and he explained college football to me, like all the nuances to it because I don't watch it, and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
No.
My
Guys,
daughter decided that yesterday was the appropriate time to ask about all the rules of football,
Oh my
how the
god.
college football playoff works, and what the conferences are. And I was like, no, not right now.
Oh my gosh. Can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Neglect.
I was nervous watching two teams that I wanted both to lose, which didn't happen, unfortunately. But you know, that's always one of the best games.
50%
Is Michigan
of what you
Ohio
wanted.
State. Yeah. And you know, I tried to will it, you know, somehow go to like 15 overtimes, and then just everybody was just too tired, and they said the hell
It
with
just
it.
collapse. Yeah.
If
Yeah,
they tied,
that's it.
what would you count that? Because that's
15
also
overtime. You want me to have a heart attack?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Guys, so why don't we get to what we're currently playing? We'll actually talk about some games. I know that's crazy on a gaming show. We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot. It's been a holiday week. I'm sure hopefully you guys had some extra time to catch up on some things or play some games you wanted to anyway. What you want to jump onto?
I'll tell you what, I've been playing more Yakuza,
Mhm.
and then I
The
picked
new
up
one?
PGA Tour. Yeah. No, well, yeah,
Okay.
the new Like a Dragon.
Yep.
The
PGA
Hero
Tour.
one. I picked up PGA Tour because it was on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's golf.
I reviewed
For sure.
PGA Tour. It's good.
Great.
Lots of sales this
Yeah.
weekend.
Lots of sales.
That's true.
We should play around. I played a couple rounds with some of the guys. PGA Tour. It's a lot of fun playing online together.
I'll be honest. I think I like the 2K one better. I don't
Do
know
you?
why, but it's. I like the problem is you have all the licensing and stuff with like the EA stuff. So you've got all like the Masters and everything like that, and then there's just kind of generic tournaments. But I like the gameplay a little bit better, I think, in 2K. But it's
Gotcha.
also golf, so it's not like it's some kind of huge, stretch. It's pretty easy. I haven't really been playing all that much. A lot of cooking. So.
Well,
Pretty
speaking
much
of golf, after our conversation
football.
last week about VR and Travis talking up VR social experiences, I got Walkabout Mini Golf
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
for the PlayStation VR, and it's been a lot of fun. So
Nice.
they had a Black Friday sale on the game and DLC courses, and they've got a ton. They've got ones that are like based around the game Myst and
Yep.
a lot of fun stuff. And it feels like actual mini golf. So that's pretty good. I love VR, and that has been a cool thing to explore. I really like those chill VR experiences, maybe even more than the big games.
Yeah. Walkabout Mini Golf has been a great date night thing. If you have two headsets and you're just sort of like standing around golfing together, it's a good time. Yeah. It's a good time.
I've heard the just picturing two people with headsets on standing next
Dude,
to each other,
literally
bumping
we're
into each
like
other.
in the space I'm sitting now, like we'll just be standing around just like with headsets, just golfing. And sometimes, if you're using fully wireless headsets, sometimes you'll drift from where you're originally standing. And so we'll like bump into each other. We'll be like, oh, sorry about that. I'll just go back over to the side of the room.
One of my favorite things in VR is taking the helmet off and figuring out what orientation you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the MetaQuest 3 has this cool thing where you can double tap your headset and then it goes into transparency mode. It like just the background falls away and you can see the world around you. So I make use of that. She's not.
You can do that in PSVR 2 as well.
Yeah, she's not as good as remembering to do that. So she bumps into me. So I'm like, get over there. Get out of my way. What are you doing?
I wanted to play the walk around mini golf. I might need to go see if it's still on sale today. I don't know if the sales have ended or not.
I think the PlayStation sales go through the 30th.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Awesome.
How is it with the cord though? Because the spinning, you have to spin a lot, and at least I do. I like spin in place, to get the right angle.
It has a quick button to take you to where you want to be with respect to the ball, and then you can walk around the courses. I think the best thing that it does, and it would do this on all the systems, is that it changes the length of the putter to where it's appropriate to be, like instantaneously. It's a really smart design that way. So I've just been having a lot of fun with it. I also got the Seventh Guest VR. I went on a VR kick because they were on sale.
Nice. Yeah, I need to go on there and check it out. I haven't checked out any of the sales actually on all the games that are out there. I was gonna say Vintage Willis said she got first VR this week and have been playing Beat Saber like crazy. Beat Saber is a classic.
Beat Saber is a classic.
Yep,
yeah,
literally assigned by my occupational therapist for my left arm. So
Sweet.
Nice. Yeah, they just had they had Queen come out a little while ago, Queen pack, and then they had a new Linkin Park and Mike Shinoda pack come out, and then Rolling Stones just came out, I think, too, like last week. So
Nice.
on Beat Saber, good stuff.
I'm sorry, I only listen to those League of Legends band songs in Beat Saber.
Yeah, obviously.
That's what I listen to.
Hoag's over there with Monster Cat, just Skrillex.
Some of those songs are tough.
It's Pop Star
Yeah.
I listen to, I think, and a bunch of them because they change all the colors around. And
Wow.
League of Legends is a weird brand, man.
What neophytes you guys are talking about your unmodded Beat Saber games. You fools. Just playing from the standard playlists, you troglodytes. What's wrong with
man.
you?
Real music.
Hey, look, I went on a VR kick when I realized I wouldn't be able to afford a MetaQuest 3 that had all the fixins.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was pretty wild, Travis, when you detailed out that. By the way, so the audience knows what we're talking about. We were talking to Travis about MetaQuest 3, and Hoag was asking basically, when you buy the MetaQuest 3, do you need to get all these additional things with it? Does it make sense to buy these add-ons? And basically,
it's like buying a car.
Detailed is, it's like there's a whole bunch of add-ons that equate basically up to around nearly $1,000, I think you said, to get it kind of like as you would want it.
Yeah, it's like $850, $900 if you buy all the add-ons, and like the add-ons are massive upgrades. Like one of the first ones you get is the controller add-ons. It gives you the strap like on the Valve Index so that you can let go of the controller and it's still in your hand, which that's like huge. Like the fact that you don't have that on PSVR too, like you let go and it drops and dangles from your wrist. That's really bad because some games it matters, right? When you're letting go to like drop something and then you pick something else up. So that one's huge. Then the charging station makes the controllers have rechargeable batteries and just makes the charging way easier because you just put the headset down and it charges up. The face mask so that it's silicone instead of cloth, especially if you play workout games like me, super important. There's just like all of them are super useful. And like I went to the MetaQuest offices to play one of their games for preview, and they gave me just a standard one, and I was like, ew. I was like, dude, this is gross compared to my setup at home. And they were actually nice about it. They gave me one that had like the elite strap and stuff. But yeah, like wearing just the regular one is like, it feels so like not premium and bad. So
that's what you want on your $500.
Yeah, I know, right? How much was the charging dot? Do you remember?
I think it's like $80, something like that.
Okay. Because there's a third party that makes for PSVR 2. I have it sitting over there. It basically converts, like you said, the two controllers to wireless charging. They just sit on it, right? And then supports the headset. So it all sits in one little nice combined unit. It's $25.
Yeah, isn't there third party accessories that?
Yeah, I actually
that's third party.
I linked some of the third party accessories for Hoag. Like they have a pretty cool solution. Like obviously the biggest problem with the MetaQuest 3 is its battery life is like 3 hours, I want to say.
That's what I had heard.
With the Elite strap, which is great for most of the time. Like if you're playing Beat Saber, you're probably not in there for 3 hours. But if you're like me and you're reviewing a 60-hour game, it does matter. So they have a headset that does the Elite thing where there's a battery in the back, but it's attached to a magnet. And so you can literally take it off and swap it with another battery. And when you buy the charging pack, you can get like 4 of these things and just have them hot swap reload. So every time they get low, you just take it off and put a new one on, and you can keep playing for a really long time with that. And then they also have headsets that do things like put the weight on the top of your head instead of on the front and back, which sometimes causes your temples to hurt and stuff. So there's a lot of cool third-party stuff out there. I've been getting into it. I own like 4 different straps for my head and, different experiments. So, but I've also got like 6 VR headsets at this point. So I just, I do a lot of VR for work, and I'm reviewing a game. Actually, that's on my currently playing list. If we want to go down currently playing, I don't know if Dan finished, but I wrapped up. Yeah, I wrapped up over the break. I believe I finished like on Thanksgiving. My replaying of Asgard's Wrath 1, which is a pretty beefy RPG experience. I think it took me like 25 hours to beat it, maybe 30. And I still had plenty left to do in terms of like completionism. Like there's, different things I could have upgraded, and I barely touched a lot of the side quests and challenges and stuff like that. But even if you're just mainlining it, I actually think mainlining it, you kind of get the best experience because the game moves pretty quick and you're constantly changing which character you're possessing. But it was cool to refresh my memory on that game and see the ending, which sets up for Asgard's Wrath 2, because I'm going to start reviewing that game in 2 days.
Nice.
So excited for that. Yeah, and that's my next big VR adventure. Aside from that, we beat Venba last night. Made my fiance cry.
Oh, nice.
For like 30 minutes. That game's sad, in case you weren't.
Was that related to Venba or separate?
Yeah, no, this is related to Venba. Yeah, she's Southeast Asian and has a mom who came to this country to find a better life for her. So it definitely resonated with her, and she was just like a wreck at the end of it. So yeah, that was fun. What else did we beat? I've been beating games. I've just been like reaching credits. It's been nice. There's a whole bunch I am forgetting already. Talos Principle 2. Got that. Great game.
Nice.
Great game.
You finished it?
Easily 9 out of 10. I think I'm done. I need to do the golden challenges yet. I'm on that part, but I've beaten the. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm basically done with it. I'll probably finish up like the 30 minutes or an hour I have left of it today.
Are you human?
Or are you Dancer?
Travis is human.
I don't know where we're going with it. My character in the game is human. Yeah. He's doing a good job. That one.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, to be honest with you.
You got to play the game. I'm really trying not to spoil stuff here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say anything, but it's a super, super cool game. Very happy with that one. And then what else did I roll credits on? Oh, I'm like a good chunk of the way through Persona 5 Tactica.
Nice.
Probably will finish that one as well this week. Ghost Runner 2 will probably finish this week as well. I'm a good ways through that. And then I've got to start playing this game, Rockay City, apparently.
I don't know if you finalized that yet. We were talking about it. So for the audience, we're still trying to figure out what game Travis should play for losing the Game Awards bet. I suggested Crime. What is it?
Crime Boss Rockay City.
Rockay City, which, if you don't know, was a game that released earlier this year. It got popular prior to release because it has a bunch of kind of like big name or old school actors, if you will, in it. But
in a number of those like direct video trailers. Yeah,
because it was supposed to be, I think they thought it was going to be pretty decent given the, I guess what you would call the acting talent. I know some of them are older actors,
big budget,
but the reviews came out and it was reviewed very poorly. So I thought that would kind of be a funny game because I don't think any of the four of us have touched it. I haven't even talked to anyone who's actually played that game. So I thought that would be a funny one for Travis to check out. But I don't know if we finalize that or not.
I do have a follow-up question, though.
Cool.
Who's buying this game? It's a $40 game.
I don't think you should have to buy it, Travis.
Am I expected to fall in the store? You'll buy it?
I'll buy it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. We'll use Bitcast funds for it.
I just wasn't sure. I was like, is that part of the punishment? Like I have to pay $40 for this game?
Personally, I think it should be.
That's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal. I was like, I'll do it, but like it seems pretty messed up a little bit.
I'll buy it. Yeah, whatever game we land on.
I'm cool with Rockay City because like you, I have been curious about that game, and I also don't know anybody who reviewed it. Maybe I don't even remember who reviewed it for IGN. I know it did get a review there though. But yeah, that one would be interesting. And unfortunately, it is not one of the games on Black Friday sale, which is really surprising. It's like full.
It is on for the PlayStation. It's on there.
Oh, is it on PlayStation? Okay.
Yeah, it's like $27. I looked at it. I was like, hey, maybe I'll buy this. And I was like, no, this looks terrible.
Smart.
It's so bad.
Travis is going to come back with a review, and he's going to try to convince us all to play it. So
I'm looking at it right now. So on Open Critic, it is a 53, and only 12% of critics recommend playing it.
There we go.
You know Travis is in that 12%.
IGN gave it a 4.
Yeah. See,
Game Informer gave it a 3.
Yeah. I doubt I'm gonna like this one, but I'm down to play it. And considering the other games I play,
fan, right? Or Trejo?
Big what?
Yeah, Danny Trejo's in it.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Chuck
also,
Norris is in it. Donald Glover is in it. What's
Danny
his name? Vanilla Ice is in it.
Danny Glover, not Donald Glover, right?
Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was like, I don't
Big
think
difference.
Donald Glover's career has really gone that way just yet.
I think it was like Kim Basinger too. She in
Danny
it?
Glover went to my college, political science major. I don't know why I
So was
remember that. I don't know why I remember that. He did though. He's getting
Anyway.
shit.
We're taking suggestions. So if anyone has a better idea, like we thought of the obvious ones, like we talked about Gollum, we talked about King Kong, we talked about, a few other ones that were like obvious bad games that got pretty popular this year, right, through social media. But we were trying to think of something a little more unique in that sense. So
I think it's a good choice.
It's a good choice.
I like
Yeah.
it.
It's a good suggestion.
Hell, there you go. Decided. We'll go
Wait,
with it.
Does he have to do the DLC too? It's like a DLC for
There's
it.
DLC for it?
I think so. Yep.
I'll do the
I think
DLC.
it's
How
great
long could it
DLC.
be? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
He's going to come back and he's going to say, this was one of the unknown gems of the year. I know.
yeah, uncut
that'd be
gems.
nice.
All right. So we'll talk offline. I'll gift it to you later today.
All right.
Cool.
Xbox preferred,
Cool.
please. Just make you pay full price for it.
I don't care. It's fine. Wherever you want to play it, it's fine. I got to make a video of you last week and got to, dress up as Leon Kennedy. It's fine.
That was funny. That was worth it. Yeah.
It's
okay. I mean, here's the thing. I was thinking about it after. I was like, I can't believe I lost. And then I thought about it and I was like, Travis, you should have known. You always are disappointed in the results of the like they're always bad. You're always like, damn it, why did they do this every year? So yeah, it is.
The best part was people still asking me, like, do you, they think because I put Resident Evil 4 on my list that I want it to be there. So I had people arguing like, it shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be there. And I'm like, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just figured it would be.
I think when you put it on your list, you did think that though, because that was in June, right? Like, I think at that point in time, you were like, "Oh yeah, Resident Evil 4 is one of the better." And then the year just changed, right? A lot more games came out. So.
Well, I mean, it's still one of the highest rated games of the year. Like, I think it's like third.
Ains was saying this is what people have reacted to, and he was saying Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2 is on the list too.
For including 4.
Yeah. It's just one of those games, right? There's just like it has that kind of aura about it, Resident Evil 4, for whatever reason, right? There's just people that have it up as one of the greatest games of all time, and luckily for me,
yeah, you were just betting that the old RE4 fanboys were going to put it on
exactly,
and you were right, which is like it's crazy to me. Yeah, I'm still shocked. I'm still shocked that happened, to be honest. Like, there's a whole bunch of people who got picked for that, and they were like, "What's the best game that came out this year? A GameCube game." Crazy to me, but I'm not on the.
And it's a great game. I mean, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed playing it earlier this year.
It's been a great game for 15 years. So
yeah, I know. So, anyway,
well, that's the thing, right? Resident Evil 2 remake changed a lot more than Resident Evil 4, and I had people talking to me about saying that Resident Evil 4 was built from the ground up and it's completely different from Resident Evil 4. It's like, no, it's not. It's somewhat different, and they changed some of the level design, but it's not that different from Resident Evil 4 as it originally came
really isn't, dude. I played that whole game, and I can tell you some things that have changed, but like largely you play that game and you're like, dude, this is the same game. Like, it really is. They changed pretty little. Even I mean I played the DLC. The DLC is at least like brand new, and some
the
of the
Ada one. Is it the
Ada Wong one? And there's like stealth mechanics that kind of feel interesting, but like that is the newest thing about Resident Evil 4 by far, and it's not what people were nominating. They didn't nominate it for like
so was Spider-Man 2. It's there also.
Okay, but I did the Ains thing with Spider-Man 2. It's like they're gonna
know it would be nominated.
I did the same thing. Yeah, I mean, I had Spider-Man 2. I think we said last week, right? Like, I think all four of us pretty much agreed Spider-Man 2 and Resident Evil 4 probably shouldn't be on there, right? I picked two different games.
I'd kick Spider-Man before Resident Evil, but I'd pick
crazy. At least Spider-Man 2 is a new game, is my logic. But also, I guess when I was betting in June, my thought was it looks like a sequel that does nothing new except for being a sequel, and I figured that won't fly in 2023, and I'm really surprised it's on there.
In fairness, Travis, none of us could have anticipated it does everything worse.
It doesn't do everything worse.
It does do everything worse. The combat, I I've played through more of Spider-Man 2 now, and the combat is more complicated without being more engaging. And splitting up the skill trees over 2 people is bad for actually engaging with the systems and growing your appreciation for what you're doing as any of the given Spider-Men. And then you throw in Venom, and you're just all over the place. It's literally like Spider-Man 3 from the Sam Raimi movie series, where it's just too much crap thrown in, and you don't connect with any of it.
I'm just surprised that Spider-Man has a parry button. That's the shocker to me. It feels very wrong to parry a Spider-Man.
It doesn't work
it's completely wrong for Spider-Man to parry. And I think as you get through the game, you realize, oh, that's just there for Venom play, right? Venom parries, okay, whatever.
That makes sense.
So you built it backwards into Spider-Man, but it feels wrong as soon as you get that button.
I'm just laughing because I wish it would have been called Spider-Man now. That would have been
Spider-Man.
They refer to themselves as Spider-Man in-game.
Yeah. It's because it's 2 Spider-Mans.
No, it's because what they
Spider-Mans were kind of stupid.
Yeah, well, it's because they want you to be able to be Miles or Peter in all these various scenes. So they all just refer to it as Spider-Man as if there's no difference between the 2 of you. And it's really weird. It plays weirdly.
Well, I mean, you also can't go out and be fighting around a bunch of people and be like, "Hey, Miles," and be like, "No, we get don't want to give away his identity, right?" So you gotta they call each other Spider-Man through the whole thing.
Can you one weird question, which is probably neither here nor there, but when you're no matter which one you're playing as, can you call for like an AI assist from the other one?
No, they'll be there. You'll show up in New York and they'll be already fighting the guys, or they'll show up and fight the guys.
Gotcha.
Sometimes.
Yeah, what do you think this is? Marvel versus Capcom 2? Calling for assists.
No, that's a classic. Great game.
I will say that Spider-Man 2 does get better after they deal with their kind of nameless hordes, silly enemy villain, and get more into what they really want to talk about. But it is not a strong game, and it is definitely not a strong narrative. I'm really surprised it was nominated for narrative.
Best narrative. Best narrative, Hogue. It's the best one this year.
I'm not sure it's in the top 30.
Name a better narrative.
Baldur's Gate.
How many Peter Parkers does Baldur's Gate even have? Do they even have one Peter Parker?
It has as many as you want to have in there.
I have not seen one Spider-Man inside Baldur's Gate, and I think that's what we're going for in our narrative.
Yeah,
it's purely based on how many Spider-Men are in it.
Spider-Man.
So I will admit that Spider-Man 2 has the most Spider-Men.
Checkmate.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, we got off topic on the Game Awards again. That's 2 weeks from now, by the way.
Spider-Man. Well, that was one of the games I've been playing this week as I try to drag myself through the end of Spider-Man 2.
Gotcha. Go to those Hogue's notes. I see it.
Oh, well, I have Hogue notes. I also have notes for the Forgotten Gems, so they somewhat overlap. What else have I personally really been playing this week? Forspoken.
That's on my list of forgotten games, just as a joke, really. But.
Hey, I think I played that too.
Yep, I was playing Forspoken. I wanted to give it another try. There's a lot of games that came out in the spring this year that I really wasn't able to play so well with my hand recovering, and so I wanted to go back and give some of these a try. And I wind up getting to about the same place in Forspoken every time I play it, which is about 6 hours in, where it just really appears to me like they don't have enough of interest for me to continue on. Like, the game is okay, and I don't love the world enough to go and see what's in its corners. Like, it's just so plain that I don't enjoy the experience that much. But I have enjoyed it more this time around than I did in the spring. And so I was playing Forspoken. I was also playing.
Question on Forspoken, real quick.
Yeah.
When they were showing it, right? The thing, I think we joked about this at the time, like almost a year ago now, where the difference between the world that it was looking to create, this fantasy kind of open world, right, and her narrative, the character choice, right, the way she speaks and interacts with that world seemed really off-putting to me. Yeah, like it just didn't blend at all. Is it that bad while playing it?
It's a typical kind of modern person thrown into a fantasy environment setup, so I'm kind of used to it from anime. It doesn't bother me as much as other writing would, but they do really like that at some point they got the green light to throw the F-bomb around and she just swears randomly about
Oh my
things.
God.
Nice.
So she's just swearing while you're playing, just constantly?
Yeah, no, you'll just show up and you'll be like, oh, finally an effing bed. And you're like, yes, that's necessary. Very, very useful.
That's what I say when I go to my
started-
bed every night. Finally.
I started playing it as well, Hope,
Nope.
and I basically I couldn't stand her and or anybody else in the game. So I don't know what the game is about. I just really wanted to see how the combat was, because that always is a part that kind of intrigued me a little bit. But I fast forwarded through like everything. I just skipped it. I was like, I can't listen to you. I can't listen to you talk. I can't listen to this person talk to you, because you eventually will talk to her back and it'll be something stupid.
I don't think it's that bad, Dan. And I think it's better than some of the stuff we see from like Horizon. She doesn't do as much of the saying what you should do. And
you can turn that down.
I think the interactions between her and what they call Cuff, her bracelet, are actually pretty good.
Tough.
He's a sarcastic Brit and doesn't put up with her crap. And that's a nice dynamic.
Okay, now you're pulling me back in.
I'm not as far as you are, I don't think. But
well, I mean, you get Cuff in the first like hour.
Yeah, Cuff will be like,
got her
what did you say you're going to do in that bed? Is that one of his retorts?
It's kind of like that, yes. It's
What kind of accent was that?
I was trying to do it like he was like taken aback. I don't know.
She's very much trying to be written as a world weary character that's over all of this and isn't that interested in being in a fantasy world. And he kind of talks down to her about whatever she's thinking. And it's a good dynamic. It's not one that is very frequent in games that I've experienced. And he's written well. I don't think she's written terribly. It's just that they seem to be excited about swearing. And I think the trailers have a lot of that. Oh, I can cast magic now. Wow. And they do some of that. You'll never guess how I got here type stuff. But I think the game is a little bit better than it got credit for at the time, but it's not a world beater or anything.
Okay.
I'll agree with you.
That's funny that you both started playing that this week. So
yeah,
I also started playing the other game that I knew would be my number one on Forgotten Gems this year, which I guess I'll talk about early because I have been playing it this week, and that's Immortals of Avium.
Damn it! I played that too because they had a trial.
Sorry, you guys are on the same thing this week. I have that on the list as well.
They were actually together this week. They're hanging out. They're on the same couch.
We were both rooting against Ohio State. What he didn't know is I was also rooting against Michigan. So I was trying to keep that on the low. Yeah.
Iowa has to try to win that game somehow, right, Dan?
Dang it. I'm just hoping they show up and don't lose 42-3 like last time. So anyway,
I don't know when the last time the West won the Big Ten championship was, but I think it was 15 years ago.
Travis, we got to stop them. Continuing to move to football. We got to stop them.
Immortals of Avium is the best game that got forgotten this year. Absolutely. Yes.
So, well, Dan, go ahead. I don't know how far you are or what else you want to say about it.
Okay, so I only played the trial, and I feel like I played the whole game.
I don't know where the trial is.
Yeah, I don't know what the trial is.
Okay, so like I don't know how much if anything.
Is it underneath
really
the bridge?
But
is it the bridge section?
It's right after you. Right before like the big fight scene, which I'm guessing is a big fight scene. It's after you have become, you're kind of still becoming an immortal. You haven't become one, and I haven't yet in the trial.
Okay.
So it's probably about a couple hours.
I was trying to figure out what the trial was.
Yeah.
How long is it?
Level 3.
It's a couple hours. Maybe a little bit longer. There's no. It's just it's a trial. The trial goes to like a certain point in the story. It's not like a time trial or anything. But everything I played, I was like, I'm not sure if this is going to get better. And I'm kind of enjoying it right now, and I don't know if I want to continue to play it because I fear it's going to get worse. Or it was like the perfect game, even though it never actually ended. You know, I mean, it's a weird thing to say,
Fear
but
it's
I
gonna
mean,
get
I feel
worse.
like I got
My
exactly.
therapist would say that's
I didn't
anxiety.
overeat. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The trial is the first
I
three
didn't-
chapters, says Exabit.
Okay.
So I
Perfect.
don't know
First
how
three
long the
chapters.
full game is, of course. I haven't played it, but
It's longish.
I will
It's a
say,
long one.
so Luke, I think I mentioned Luke, host of the Xbox Expansion Pass. We've had him on Bitcast a number of times. He interviewed the creative director, the head of the studio, I believe, over there. And if you don't know, Immortals of Avium, kind of unfortunate, right? The new studio set up, good funding, EA original, published, to set up this new IP. Came out this year, kind of came out in a tough period. This year's been tough for games like this. It reviewed, I would say, relatively well. I want to say in the 7s. And it just quickly got forgotten about, like Hogue was mentioning in our list today. So sad. The more than half the studio has been let go now. They've had to obviously cut back. And just one of those stories that's kind of sad. But I've heard from Luke and others, now you guys and others that have played it, that it's actually quite a good game and very enjoyable. And it's something different, which I think I mentioned the other week is something we kind of, say that
It's
we
fun
need
and
more
it's
of, right?
new.
Creative.
And it's also Call of Duty, or at least Call of Duty as you remember it, right? It's not a 4-hour campaign. It's not that kind of thing. It's the Call of Duty grand campaign, except you're all wizards. And it's got kind of a young adult novel, Brandon Sanderson type of vibe to it. So if you like any of those things, it's a really, really good game, honestly.
Yeah, and some of the developers are ex-Call of Duty developers, and it's funny you say that, Hogue. I don't know if you knew and are saying that, but if you didn't know, that's literally what they were going for. Is they wanted a Call of Duty campaign, and
It's obvious. You run and you'll look up and see a big ship crash into something and an explosion, and then the music will come on. The music is really, really big. It's really summer blockbustery, which is a cool vibe for a fantasy scene, and it's all really well done. I can't speak highly enough about it. I don't know if it's on Black Friday sale, but if it is, I recommend it.
I almost bought it. I think it's like $25 ish.
It's like it's like $30. I saw it as well.
My God, 25? Yeah, go get it.
Yeah,
play the trial. There's so much in that trial. It's a lot, and I just felt like I didn't know if it could get much better than what it was. I mean, the story was I don't know, because it was fine, but the combat's super fun. And
it has a story, first of all, which is interesting for a first-person campaign in a new IP, and it's got a lore tab, and it's got all this stuff that it's teaching you about the world. And if you like any of that stuff, it's a fun game to play.
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely fun for sure.
I guess my counterpoint would be that I also played it when it came out. I played it for a couple hours, and I thought the middling scores were pretty deserved. Didn't really click with me. I didn't think the story, or especially the main character, the protagonist, was interesting at all. I don't think the young adult vibe worked on me either. I was just sort of like not really gripped by it. And the combat was okay, but it really, I don't know. They ask you to learn a lot for not that good of a payoff, in my opinion, where it comes to combat. So I don't know. In a year where there's lots of really good games, that one sort of just certainly was forgotten, and it probably deserved better than it got, given the fact that it's not actively bad at all. It just sort of like didn't really connect with me, and I gave that game like probably 5 or 6 hours.
Not really a lot of first-person shooters this year, though, especially with Call of Duty spitting the bit.
True. It was actually a bad year for FPSs. Actually, like this year was pretty good, but like
Haynes is going to say Halo, and we know Haynes. We know.
No. I was going to say, why? Because the most FPSs are live service, right? Like all the FPSs that are top of the market are all live service. So whether you're playing Siege, Halo, Apex, Fortnite, Battlefield.
If you want to support a new world novel IP in a single player environment, Immortals of Avium is fantastic.
Cool.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll get to our list here. We're going to go through a whole bunch of games that shouldn't be overlooked. I don't really have a lot to add on the currently playing side, because I got to be honest with you guys. All I've played this week is Elden Ring.
Fake gamer girl.
Yeah, it happens. I started a new playthrough, and I'm going deep into the lore and things I haven't discovered before, and it's just that game is. I've
been playing a lot of Super Mario RPG.
Nice.
And I still don't like it as much as Paper Mario's. Obviously, those are kind of more modern. But the Super Mario RPG has a very specific 90s Squaresoft vibe that just never really fully connected with me. As I will talk like Travis for a second. It's a little bit weirder. It's a little bit more, what exactly are we doing here? Very much kind of Secret of Evermore and other games that I could mention that nobody will know what I'm talking about. But the 90s Squaresoft had this kind of weirder vibe, and I think Super Mario RPG is the epitome of that. And I think it's great that we have a remake, and I'm glad it exists. But if I had to pick between playing it or even Origami King, I'd probably pick Origami King.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that Super Mario RPG is weird, personally. It is weird, though. It's a weird game.
I haven't played it since. I didn't play the new one yet.
It reminds me of like Live Alive, right? It's got this very kind of slightly different, weird vibe to it that is indicative of Squaresoft of the 1990s.
I will say the change in art style, I don't think nails it. It seems like they sort of just put 3D. They like took the textures from the original game and just like wrapped them around in a 3D way, and it makes everything look kind of odd. That's been my
everything is squished, right? Like so everybody looks squished. One of the things that really jumps out is that Super Mario RPG had what I would describe as the Donkey Kong Country 3D effect, which was really cool at the time. And it kind of looks like when you play the remake, at least for me, that I wish it still looked like that. Like the little tiny dog things that you fight are fine in polygons, but they're not interesting as they were when they were kind of fake 3D Super Nintendo graphics. So it's overall, it's a remake that does everything competently. I'm glad it exists. I'm not sure it's better than the original, and I'm not sure the original was really that great.
Whoa. Wow.
I know everybody loves it, but
I love Super Mario RPG, yeah.
It's kind of funny talking about that, the art style you guys are talking about, because I think Wonder is pretty amazing in that regard. How it's a 2D game, but they kind of have those 3D models that
Wonder
really
looks
fit
great.
Super Mario Wonder, they clearly put a lot of time into the art in that game, and I don't think they did the same thing with Super Mario RPG. I think they just sort of like did good enough, and then gave people the thing that they've been asking for a decade of like, hey, here it is, it's back again, which is cool because I'm one of those people. I mean, I love
never
that game.
does that.
Yeah, and I love that game, and it like unlike other games that get remasters and remakes, there's not really a lot of good ways to play Super Mario RPG right now. So I think we definitely needed it, just from a games preservation perspective.
Yeah.
But
I mean, trying to buy a copy of that for Super Nintendo is not cheap.
No,
it is
I'm
a little
really glad
half-assed.
it exists as a project, and I'm amazed that they got it done really with all the licensing that had to happen.
Yeah,
but I just don't think it's one of those games that stands as the pinnacle, and I really think Paper Mario winds up eating its lunch over the course of its history, because that's what Super Mario RPG became.
I was just going to say, Steve-O in your chat says, I think Super Mario RPG was a really trial and error game for Nintendo. I think when they got to Paper Mario, they had a much better picture of what they wanted style-wise. So
well, and I think Nintendo takes over, right? And so they're handling it in-house, and they don't have to work with Square, who is doing some JRPG melodrama with Mario that doesn't fully fit certainly what we feel about Mario and his world now. So it's an interesting vibe. It feels vintage. It feels retro.
Definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Let's get caught up on super chats here. We've got Darth Mac.
Okay, Darth Mac. $5 super chat. Just imagine Thai guy Travis with Half-Life head crab in place of his headset. Do you have that?
I think Against the Tide can make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It already kind of looks like that when you're wearing a headset. I will say that is the one thing about VR that has not changed, is you look like a dork playing it. Like no matter how no matter how cool it is. I was showing like other people in my life a VR this weekend. I was like, oh, here, you like working out, here's a workout game. You like rock climbing, here's a climbing game. And they were all getting into it, but then, everybody else watching is like, you're a loser. And you're correct. Yeah. Look really
having fun playing mini golf, and you're just sitting in the living room.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Darth Mac, thank you for the super chat. We got a member comment from Debbie.
Yes. I think Travis should have to play House Flipper.
Oh.
House Flipper is a capitalist dreamscape game. We can't give that to Travis.
Yeah. Next time you guys come back, next episode, I'll be reading Ayn Rand. You guys don't want that. That's
That's right.
It's too
Travis
much.
discusses
We
the Fountainhead.
absolutely do not want that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you don't want that. No.
I was trying to see what House Flipper. Yeah, too many critics recommend that. That's at 42%. That's way too high. That's way too high.
42% House Flipper.
Isn't that lower than Rocket City?
No, it was
No, Rock
12.
A was 12.
Ooh, yikes.
So,
That's
yeah.
gonna be fun.
Debbie, thank you as always. Googleman.
Hi, Googleman, back again. You mean the Jeff Keighley show featuring Sam Lake?
He's going to try to
Probably.
introduce Sam Lake to
And
Hideo
Kojima.
Kojima. It's going to be a
No doubt. No doubt.
apocalypse.
Do you think
By the
they'll
way, I
kiss?
think we should still have the bet I joked about, which, you know, the number of shoes he wears combined with the number of times he mentions Kojima and Sam Lake.
Yeah.
It's
gonna be double digits. So prepare for it.
Did you see the Timothy Chalamet pictures at the Hideo Kojima offices?
I did. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Yep.
I did not. What happened?
Well, he's a
Just
character.
Paul
in
Atreides
the
walking
game.
around in like Kingdom Hearts buckles at the Hideo Kojima I think it's their atrium, but it's like that white room that has the spaceman.
Oh, Kojima Production Studio. Okay, yeah.
Timothy Chalamet does look like a Kingdom Hearts character. 100%.
He does. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very fair. Googleman, thank you. Plague comment.
Plague. Forgotten great game. Warhammer 40K bolt gun.
That is on my list. Nice.
Yeah, it's on mine too. I haven't played it, but I've heard so many great things. People tell me to play it. I need to play it.
Yeah, so I was actually supposed to review that one, and then they put me on something else instead. So I got a code for that game and played like a couple hours of it and was like, damn, this is really good. And then they were like, Travis, we need you on this other game. And if I'm not mistaken, the other game was
get Travis
terrible.
off it.
Exactly. Yeah, they were like, get him off. It's too good. Put him on Testament, Order of High Human.
God, I forgot about that one. Yeah,
that
probably
game.
for good reason.
We could just make him play Testament again.
They forgot about it too because they spelled their own name wrong. Did I tell you about the guys about that? They spelled their name. They couldn't even get the name of their own game right in the game.
And like the letter that included it, I think you mentioned it.
Yeah, they have 3 different ways that they presented their own title of the game. So like when you look up online, like what should I call this game in our database? It's like there's like no agreed upon correct title.
Oh my gosh,
it's very awkward.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Plague, thank you, and Rick Davis with
Rick Davis. Morning, guys. I wish to nominate a forgotten game, the System Shock remake.
Yes,
excellent work by Night Dive on the great granddaddy of BioShock.
Yes, PC only right now, but supposedly being worked on for console. Right. So
that was part of the Kickstarter, right? People,
yes, it was.
People funded it to the console level.
Yeah, and it kind of went up and down for a couple of years about whether or not, and they basically like 2 years ago said, "Look, just give us some time, we'll get it right." And apparently they did.
They had to swap the whole engine. They did a bunch of stuff with the System Shock stuff.
Yeah,
I really thought this game wasn't going to come out based on the.
No doubt, it looked like one of those.
The troubled development, but yeah, it came out. That's the story of System Shock and all BioShock games. It looks like they're never going to come out, and then they do, and you're like, oh, it's pretty good. Crazy.
System Shock 2 is one of my favorites, but System Shock 1 I don't love as much.
I do like
System Shock. Real quick, before we go to our topic, I was going to mention on Immortals of Avian, if you play the trial, it will give you the deluxe version or the option to go to the deluxe version to buy it for 50% off, I think. So it's actually cheaper or around the same price as the sale price of the base game, or it's like $5 more. So you just play through it and it'll give you a link. You can't access it unless you play the trial. Or I haven't seen
finish the trial, do you know?
No, you can just literally buy it right when you launch the trial. It'll bring up a link, say, "Hey, purchase full game at half off."
Dan's trying to get you deals.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help you
Black
out.
Friday deals live.
Listen, I'm all over. You have no idea how much I spent this week. It's insane. But it was cheaper than what I would, normally spend. So
nice.
Anyway.
All right. Okay. So let's go through some of these games you guys had on your list. Then I kind of just went down the year. I basically pulled up a release date chart and kind of pulled out the games that released this year. You already got Forspoken. One game that was heavily anticipated and was forgotten about extremely quickly this year that I had on my list was Atomic Heart. So that came out in February. basically it looked like this kind of Bioshock-ish first-person shooter and Soviet Union type vibe. And rather quickly, that game just disappeared. I know that a lot of the complaints with the game were around the protagonist being incredibly annoying and off-putting with his commentary as you play through it. That was pretty early on. I only got a few hours into it, and it just didn't grab me at all. I didn't even feel like continuing in that game. I don't know if you guys put a lot of time into that game, but it's kind of amazing to me when I was looking back. I totally had forgotten that one even released.
I'm kind of the same as you. I played 2 hours, and I was just like, man, this guy is super annoying, but also this gameplay kind of sucks. And when you actually get to it, because there's like 30-minute parade you got to go through before you even get there, and it was just one of those things where I was just like, all right, this is enough. I like the vibe. It had a really cool vibe to it, and I just couldn't keep going.
I think it's a bad time to have kind of things that seem pro-Russia in the in the zeitgeist. So I think Atomic Heart is better than it got credit for, but it didn't have a ton to say. So if you imagine Bioshock without the stuff at the end, without Would You Kindly, does it have the same kind of effect? I would say no.
Yeah, it's just a generic action game at that point. Yeah, that's one I actually have not played at all, which is a rarity for me. And the reason is because I keep waiting for it to go on a real sale. They keep doing like $10 off, $15 off. And I'm like, no, dude, this is a $30 game. Just sell it to me for the real price. And it has not gone down that cheaply yet. So I'm waiting for it.
They're like playing chicken. It's just
dude, it's like, I'm not going to bite, man. 25% off? No. You are a 50, 60% off game. Come on.
Travis wants a full auction system.
I do.
Here's my
It was in Game Pass, wasn't it?
It is in Game Pass, I thought.
It's in Game Pass, but yeah, I'm trying to barter for it, I guess. Yeah, I probably should just play it in Game Pass.
Or not. I mean, there's plenty of other games.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing.
Just too many other games.
Time is the resource you can't make more of, so.
Yeah. Go ahead. We'll just kind of go around the horn here. We can just jump around with different games, but
okay. Well, Dan is currently a Bioshock man right now, so
I'm playing Bioshock.
I want to remind people of the existence of Making of Karateka.
Oh yes, I forgot about that one as well. See?
Making of Karateka is more of a video game documentary about Karateka and specifically Jordan Mechner, who made Prince of Persia as well as Karateka, and his father, who is the composer of the game. And it's really, really well done. You've got a lot of cool video commentary, a lot of old letters between Jordan and Broderbund, as well as versions of the game that originally released on like the Commodore 64 and the Apple IIe, and a modern version of that same game. It's a great package, and I love seeing Digital Eclipse do these games where they have all of this kind of historian documentary preservation stuff put into an older title that probably wouldn't sell as well on its own. So I highly recommend it. I don't have any idea whether it's on sale anywhere, but it is a forgotten game, I think, and it deserves to not be forgotten.
It's one of those that every time we bring it up, I'm like, yes, I'm going to go buy that after the show, and then I forget. So I'm literally going to type a note for myself right now.
There you go. See?
It doesn't happen again.
It's easy to forget.
There's just too much, man. There's too much.
Yeah, that game is cool. Definitely.
Okay, got it.
So
it's funny you mentioned Prince of Persia. I was just going to say, looking through this list, I realized and had forgotten. It's not a forgotten release. But in January, we get the new 2D Prince of Persia, which looks fantastic, by the way. I'm very excited for that because that's from the Rayman Legends team. So the gameplay should be on point. But that's neither here nor there. We'll cover that in 2 months.
I keep thinking it's an Assassin's Creed game. So I appreciate you keep reminding me.
Fair enough. Travis, give us one.
I would like to nominate My Friendly Neighborhood as a...
we reviewed that one, actually.
Yeah. My Friendly Neighborhood is a cool game where it's a horror survival game. Basically, what if the cast of Sesame Street was the bad guy in a horror game? It's very weird and goofy and different. And I tried to review that game, but we did not have time, budget / enough people interested online to actually justify a review for that game, which I feel kind of badly about because I feel like it probably deserved a review. But unfortunately, people just didn't seem interested in that game, which is why it's ending up on my forgotten games list. I would have liked to review that one. And in preview, I played a version of the game that was pretty incomplete. There was like a lot of stuff that in the patch notes of like, hey, we still need to fix this and this isn't here and stuff. But like I saw
dev, if I remember right.
The very small dev, and there were a bunch of things that they were still working on when I previewed it. But even in its early form, where there were clearly things obviously missing, I still thought like it had a lot of potential, and I never really got to see what game that ended up being. They sent me a copy of it, but I didn't have time to play it because I wasn't doing a review for it. So
I'm looking up our review right now.
That's one I'd like more people to know about, just because I enjoyed my time with it in preview, and I think it's a very interesting idea for a game.
Yeah, it definitely is. So our reviewer, Steve, he did play the full game. He gave it a 7.5, and basically says, there's a lot of kind of horror games with jump scares and bland YouTube fodder, but this game stands out. Made by 2 developers apparently. So he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, extremely unique, and that's like one of the qualities I most look for in my games, is something new and different. And I think that definitely nails that. It is very different. I mean, it starts off with a musical sequence. It's a horror game. Like, that's great.
That's cool.
So,
very cool.
Well, if we are talking about horror games, can I make a recommendation?
There is no round robin here. Go for it.
Slay the Princess.
Slay the Princess. Carry on.
Slay the Princess is like an old school action adventure game in which the graphics are black and white, and you are instructed to kill the princess. And nice. I'm not going to say much more. It's essentially existential horror, but you should check it out. It's like an old, I don't know, Shadowrun game. But I like that vibe. I like existential horror. You heard me say last week that I enjoy Dredge, and I did pick up the DLC for Dredge. It's got a little bit of that. I highly recommend it if you're interested at all in visual novels and action adventure games of the old school variety of items and inventory and things like that.
Yeah, looking it up, it only came out a month ago. Very, very highly rated on Steam.
Well, I think all of my list really could be pared down to PC, right? Like, we don't talk enough about PC games, and there's a lot of good ones.
There definitely are. Yeah, especially ones that are either first on PC or unique to PC, as you're pointing out, right?
Yeah, I don't think Slay the Princess is likely to come to any other platform, but I don't know.
It's on Steam. It's only $18 on Steam. Looks cool.
Sorry for spending your money, chat, but I do recommend it.
Is it hand drawn? Looks hand drawn.
It's got a hand drawn element to it. I don't know the full art style. Nice. It's a narrative first game. So if you like narrative, if you like storytelling, that's why you would go to it first.
Cool. Very cool.
I missed the name of this one.
Nice.
What was it?
Slay the Princess.
Oh, gotcha.
Slay the Princess.
Okay.
I believe the tagline is "Don't believe her lies."
Oh. Sounds like
a Memento
Notes song.
A little bit.
Yes.
Don't believe his lies.
Don't believe his lies. I want to call out Aliens Dark Descent, which is a obviously Aliens IP game, right? Which we got one last year too, which was okay. Played it for a little bit. This again is this kind of 4-player co-op Aliens themed game, but I think done better than
Did you say 4-player co-op? Do you mean what is it, Elite? What is the
Fire
other
Team Elite?
Fire Team Elite, yes.
Dark Descent is the real-time strategy game.
Oh, yes, sorry. I'm mixing these games up. I apologize. But I was going back and looking at this one from earlier this year. When did this come out? In June. And, I'm a big Aliens kind of IP guy. Love Aliens, and there's been a lot of games, right? A lot of things based around Aliens, some good, some bad, everything in between. But I was kind of going through some of the write-ups on this, and I talked to some people who played this one, and generally really highly regarded, some really solid reviews on this one, and some friends really enjoyed it as well. So it's probably one of those games you could pick up on the cheap if you're into Aliens.
I believe it's in the PlayStation Black Friday sale because I was looking at it earlier this weekend.
Cool. There
So
you
it's
go.
an RTS.
No. This one is a Left 4 Dead type game. It's what Colonial Marines wanted to be, I think, back in the day.
Hey, I remember that game.
It's a cool one.
Dark Descent. Yeah, it's on sale.
I played a little bit of that one.
$27.99.
Not Dark Descent. I think it's
No, not Dark
Fire
Descent.
Team
Fire
Elite.
Team Elite.
Oh, Fire Team Elite was last year. Dark Descent is the one I'm talking about from this year.
But Dark Descent is the real-time strategy game.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I said I mixed them up at the start.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you mixed them up and you wanted the Fire Team Elite. No, Dark Descent
No. Dark
is
Descent.
a real-time strategy game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Fire Team Elite, like it was the one when I said I meant it was okay. I played it a little bit. It was fine.
Okay.
It didn't do anything unique, but everything I've seen about Dark Descent is actually really, really strong. Like I said, feels like it got overlooked. It's rated very highly regarded, and the people I've talked to that have played it have seemingly loved it. So I would give that a look if you're into the Aliens IP, like I said.
Huh. I have to look at it.
I think Aliens has done well in the last year or so.
There's been a lot of Alien stuff. So it's better than, I would say, a lot of the licensed games we get nowadays are typically better than what we used to get in like the 90s and 2000s, right?
Well, let's talk about 80s licensed games that could be forgotten, that I don't want to see forgotten. Robocop.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Robocop Rogue City is pretty good. It is not worthy of being forgotten.
Nice.
Seen a lot of people talking about it.
I'll agree that it's not worthy of being forgotten. It's about as high as I'd go on the bar, but yeah.
Wow.
Travis is harsh on the first-person shooters, but you give me a first-person shooter that does its own thing and has its own story and isn't just a connection for multiplayer arenas, and I'm enjoying myself, generally speaking.
It's just a little one note for me is my problem with that game.
You are, in fact, a Robocop.
You are a Robocop, and you're just sort of stalking the halls, shooting things. I mean, yeah. But it does fulfill the RoboCop fantasy. That's for sure.
Yeah, I watched a group that I follow play it the first couple hours of it, and it definitely has that vibe from the 80s movie, right? Like, I mean, it seems like that's what they do well. So if you're looking for that and like that, it feels like that's going to be right up your alley. To Travis's note, anything I saw of the gameplay looked pretty one note.
It's Alien Isolation for RoboCop. It does what that genre was.
You're the one attacking instead of hiding.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Well, I haven't played as many as you guys, so I don't have a ton. But of course, I will mention Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Ishin.
I had that on my list. I was going to bring it up for you for that reason because I had forgotten that released earlier this year.
I think a lot of people did, and it's I know it's like a remake, but it's really well done. If you like Yakuza, it's gonna be right up your alley. Takes you back to the feudal Japan kind of deal. Instead of guns, even though there are guns, you get swords for the most part. Nice little fun game. It's Yakuza through and through. So the weird sub stories and everything. So go check it out. Also on sale. Don't know for how much though.
So where does that sit in the infamous Yakuza timeline and character arc here?
It's really not like connected as much. It's basically these characters that you played through in really Yakuza 0 through 6.
Okay.
And they take those characters actually and Like a Dragon as well. So they have they basically take those characters, put them in different places. They're playing different characters, I guess. They're just using the models and. But it's fun. I mean, it's a fun little game. It's if you like the Yakuza franchise, like I said, it's cool to kind of see them in kind of a little bit different light. I mean, Kiryu is still Kiryu, generally. I mean, he still goes. He's still the same guy. But like Majima's in it, and everybody. So it was probably one of my. I haven't forgotten a lot of games because I didn't play a lot of games. So that's probably one of those that kind of I totally forgot I played. Then I see it and I'm like, oh, I gotta go back and play it some more. It was good, very good.
Gotcha.
I have to go back and play it. It's a good reference because it is one of those games that came out when my hand said no. So I'm trying to go back to those games. The game I have from that time period that I wanted to remember was Wild Hearts. I really like that game.
Okay. The Monster Hunter competitor, if you will.
It's a Monster Hunter alike, but it has certain Fortnite building elements that I think work well in that genre. And I think it will ultimately be forgotten because it's not going to have a sequel, and EA Originals is probably not going to last in the way that they built it. But I thought it was good.
Okay. Yeah, I only played it extremely briefly, but then I'm not a big Monster Hunter guy. So,
we know.
Yeah, I know. So it didn't do much for me, but that's fine. I know it was regarded pretty highly, if I recall correctly. So
for a moment, but I mean, like that's why we're having these conversations. Is 2023 just came in and the lights got that bright.
What was that Monster Hunter like game? Wild Hearts. Yeah, I actually did play almost that entire game. I helped Tom review it. Yeah, it was a good game. Completely forgot about it.
Reviewed it for us. He really liked it.
Forgot playing it. There you go.
I played that game for like 10, 11 hours. Completely forgot about it.
Yep. I'll throw one up on a T for you, Travis, that I had going through the list that I've only played once, but I know you reviewed it and really liked it, is Meet Your Maker.
It's on my list.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that one is definitely overlooked because, again, it came out during a really bad time. I can't remember what was coming out at that time, but everybody was playing something else is my recollection. That one's really cool. Making your own levels, having your friends try to take down those levels, and basically just infinite replayability in terms of stuff to do. It's also gotten really good support. It kind of has not really live service model because I don't think they're doing season passes and stuff, but they are like, it's got a long tail in terms of support for that game. So they've been coming out with stuff like new traps and new weapons and new ways to mess with the people invading your bases. And it's a super cool game. I can't remember what's
real weird. It's a real weird vibe.
It's a weird vibe. It's like Mad Max kind of gross sci-fi world with post-apocalyptic game of not hide and seek, but attack defend, which is kind of interesting. Super cool game. But yeah, you can watch my review on that one. Definitely on my list. Actually, I tried to put as many games that I reviewed on my list as possible that I thought were actually worth remembering. Because some of the games I review aren't worth remembering. Nobody needs to know about the Gray Hill incident. It's fine. Don't do it. Go ahead and forget about that one. Forget that one happened. I sure wish I forgot about it.
A couple of people in chat, and I had this on my list too, have mentioned Minecraft Legends came out this year.
It's on my list as well. Yeah,
which it's Minecraft. I mean, it's one of the biggest IPs in gaming, right? It's kind of weird to think that this, and maybe we're not the audience, right? Minecraft has a different.
My daughters do update me on the Minecraft live announcements, so if you're not getting that, you might forget it, I guess.
Yeah. So maybe that's part of it, but that's definitely one. When I look back, I was like, wow, Minecraft Legends did come out this year, didn't it?
I didn't get to play nearly enough of that game, but I really liked what I did play. So that is also on my list, Minecraft Legends.
I don't love that one. I'm just a person, but I don't love that one.
Yeah. I mean, you like Minecraft in general.
I'm just a guy.
Just a guy looking at a game I don't like.
In love with stuff that's not Minecraft. Man.
Oh my god.
Well, no, I just don't love it. I mean, but if other people like it, that's great. I did want to talk a little bit about cozy games because I love Fae Farm. I've talked about that, but probably not as much as I've been playing it in this space. Fae Farm is a great farming game with all the stuff that you love from Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon or however back you want to go in the kind of farming, life sim, relationship management game genre. And it's an excellent representation of it. And I love Palia, which was introduced to me by Travis. And we play it in Hogue House still. It's a World of Warcraft if you only did cozy things.
It's Animal Crossing meets WoW. That's how I describe it.
It's actually pretty cool in theory. It's not my type of game, but just the concept sounds really cool. And the art style, because we talked about that one because I was talking to PR about it. The art style in that one is pretty beautiful from what I've seen.
It is. No, it's great. It's real, right? It's not just trying to get away with budget graphics from a cozy environment perspective. So Fae Farm and Palia, I don't want to be forgotten because I think those are really good.
Nice.
Great games. Yeah,
nice.
Palia is also on my list. Because I actually spent, my fiance has spent over 250 hours in that game. She actually, funny story, she played that game so much in preview. Like we got codes like maybe a month and a half before they entered their beta and everyone could play it. She played so much that the publisher called me to ask why one of my codes had like over 150 hours in it, because they were like, are you playing that much?
Are you crypto mining with Palia?
Yeah, they were like, what is up with that? Like the developer was like, yo, one of the codes we gave out, like all the other codes are like 15 20 hour, like
our game is not meant to be played this long. What are you doing?
It was like very early state, and they were like, they asked the publisher, they were like, hey, can you like reach out to IGN, because one of the codes we gave them is being used for like an absurd amount of playtime. And they called me. I just so happened to be at the IGN office when it happened, when they called me, and they were just like, what's going on? And I was just like, that is my fiance. She loves your game. And they were just like, oh, damn, she's played more than everyone by a lot. I was just like, yep, she's obsessed. So I put maybe like 60, 70 hours into that game, which is a lot for a preview. Like I didn't review that game. I did a preview. Usually a preview, you play like a couple hours. So that was
it's pretty compelling. My daughter is dedicated to becoming a citizen of Palia.
Yeah, that takes a long time, dude. It's quite a grind. But yeah, that's a super cool one. I will take that off my list as well. Palia was on there.
That's awesome. I want to shout out one, which again may not be the audience and maybe my kind of feed. I don't hear about it, but Lego 2K Drive. So this is Lego licensed game, but it's in the Forza Horizon Crew Motorfest style, right? So it's an open world kind of racer, but more funny themed, right? In the Lego world, kind of humor, lighthearted for kids type thing. So it's one of those games that is beautiful and has a lot to do. Just if you have kids and you enjoy racing around, don't even have to be kids, right? It can just be a fun game, one of those games to kind of veg out to. That came out in the middle of the year, right in May, when all the big games were ready to hit, like Diablo, Final Fantasy. I forget all the others now, but there were so many games hitting. Yeah, it just got lost, I think. And again, very highly regarded, critically very acclaimed. Just one of those games. So if you're looking for the kind of casual racer that you can just have fun with and cruise around and discover things, kind of open world racer, it's a good one to call out, along with Crew Motorfest, which I know we've talked about previously, so it's not really forgotten about. But
can I recommend Hot Wheels 2 instead of Lego Drive? And Lego Drive is not because I have experience with it. I tried to buy it physically, which is always a mistake. And it came with a dead sector or whatever, and I was never able to install it. And I know people have the digital physical fight all the time, but at least with the digital games, I can play them. And I never got a physical copy of Lego 2K Drive that worked. So
that's always
you can get a new one, right?
Yeah. Could have gotten a new one. Didn't.
It's too much work.
Okay.
Gee. I never had a digital copy not work.
Man. But digital copies don't work when they stop letting them work. I mean,
we do the same thing with
that's happened so much.
It's a false equivalency, and you know it, sir.
I was making a joke, but I did get a bad disc. And I love the Hot Wheels. I love the Hot Wheels games. I think they do a really cool way of making the cars look like Hot Wheels, and I think they are a fun arcade racer that has all the kind of skidding and speed boosts that you want to see from a Mario Kart or something like that, and it's a lot of fun to play.
It's up for best racing or sports game this year.
I guess
here's a pro tip, Hogue. If you're going to have something physically shipped to your house, why not make it actual Hot Wheels? I mean, if you're going to go through all the trouble.
I have lots of Hot Wheels and Hot Wheel tracks.
That seems like a better.
This is why I can't afford a MetaQuest 3, Travis. I got Hot Wheels. I got tiny little robots.
Can your Hot Wheels ride around on your non-functional disc of the Hot Wheels game? Can you have them use that as a course? Use that as a course. Yeah.
Although I can recommend Hot Wheels, and then Nissa in the chat says the Disney's car my game. The Disney Speedstorm I really like this year as well.
Didn't play that one.
Oh, Speedstorm, yep.
But Gameloft is getting in a little trouble because they are moving around their business model for Disney Dreamlight Valley. I would expect whatever winds up happening with Dreamlight Valley will
That's
also
this
happen
year,
with
right?
Speedstorm.
This year is the
so-
1.0 release. I think it's happening.
Yeah, it's
in December.
1.0 on the 5th of December, which I was going to mention this week to you guys because I know you've talked a lot about Dreamlight Valley, and I noticed that on the list.
Dreamlight Valley is great, but they're not going free to play, and some people are mad. Some people are sending me letters asking me to do lawsuits and things. I'm mad. So,
Wow.
no,
Okay.
by the way. Yeah, people are upset.
Too funny. One of the bigger ones that came out earlier this year that I think got lost, especially given kind of the type of game it is Wolong Fallen Dynasty. So this is it's Team Ninja basically taking what they did with Neo and making it more of even more of a kind of a larger Souls-like. Highly regarded, highly reviewed, plays well, mechanically very strong. It's deep. There's a lot to it. It seems kind of strange for a game of that caliber to be lost so quickly. But again, it's what we keep saying, right? It's just the nature of the year. But it came out in March. It also launched on Game Pass, so I know it found an audience in terms of players pretty quickly. But it's definitely one that I feel like if you're like me, you like the Souls games, you like those kind of tough action games, what have you. It's definitely up there. It should be on your list if you haven't checked it out or didn't get to it this year. And I'm sure by now, several months later, you could probably get a pretty good deal on it. So I would check that one out.
I'm probably not the right person to talk on this, but I don't love Wolong. I think things like Liza P are better this year. And I think to some extent, some of the stuff that gets forgotten is because it doesn't connect as much as we would hope it does.
That's all of these.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, to some extent. Some things just come out at the wrong time. But I don't think making of Karateka does anything wrong necessarily. It's just not going to have the same kind of zeitgeist moment as something like Alan Wake doing a musical number.
I think even if it came out on a slow year, it wouldn't, because it's such a niche idea for a game. It's aimed at people who care about games, which is like the 4 people on this panel, and then like games.
What game are we talking about?
Karateka. Like, it's just designed to like have a love of like the industry, which is like, how many people are there? That's a very small market. I think that was a passion game, and I'm glad it exists, obviously, but
I think it's a fairly brilliant piece of PR to take what you've got as an intellectual property and figure out how to market it at all in 2023. But I think it's great.
Yeah, it should become the model for like we're bringing back retro games, I think. But yeah, it was never going to have mass appeal.
I played Wolong and I was not impressed.
I like
Fair
Wolong.
enough. But I don't think Wolong is up your alley typically, is it, Hope?
Yeah, not really.
I mean, no, I play all these games, but it's not one that I would tend to love. But I love Liza P, and I suck at that.
Yeah. Well, I think Liza P definitely hit a mark.
Liza P is not a forgotten game, though.
No,
it's not.
Not bringing it up is forgotten.
Yeah.
No, I think Hope's point was if you're going to play a game in that vein, Liza P is probably a better game to play, right?
I will agree with that. I think Liza P is better. Yeah. They're very different games, though. I wouldn't even call Wolong really a Souls-like. It has some Souls-like elements,
and Tal just called out it's more like a Ninja Gaiden because it's Team Ninja, which is true. They just, with Neo and Wolong, they have added kind of Souls-ish elements, but then
and you better like some of that Three Kingdoms stuff. I mean, like that. Yeah. If you don't, it's not going to work for you.
Yes, it's got that Dynasty Warriors vibe to it too, for sure. Yep.
No, I think the one that is the most easily forgotten by some that shouldn't be after the ones I've already spoken of is Octopath Traveler 2.
It's on my list too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love JRPGs, obviously. I love role-playing games. I love narrative. Octopath Traveler 2, I think, didn't move the needle as much away from Octopath Traveler 1 as it needed to get more credibility from some folks. But it is an improvement over the first one, and it still has one of the best turn-based battle systems of any JRPG in the last couple of years. Octopath Traveler makes you think as you play through it. And Octopath Traveler 2 has, I would say, more interesting characters throughout than Octopath Traveler 1. And I love Octopath Traveler 1. So don't forget Octopath Traveler 2. Don't sleep on it. It's great.
I still need to finish that game. It's probably going to take me like 10 years.
It's long.
Yeah. And I don't have time to focus on it 100%.
You gonna finish that first, or Hogue with Xenoblade 3?
Oh, Hogue's never finishing Xenoblade.
I don't know that I will ever finish Xenoblade 3. I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah, I've long believed that's his bakery. I mean, that's never happening. It's just not.
Welcome to the business, Hogue.
Yep.
It's too. These games are too long, fellas. You know this.
I mean, I don't know that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is too long. It's very overwritten. I'll give you that. But like, it's kind
too
of
long.
Right.
You literally ranted on this show about the game being too long.
It is long. It was my point. But is it too long? Is it too long? It's a good game. It's a damn good game.
I'm gonna keep playing it. It's got a lot to say about like.
You're gonna keep playing the first 20 hours. I know how you work, Hogue. Every time you pick it up, you're gonna be like, "It's been so long. Let me start from the beginning."
I think I don't have to start over again on this one, but I might.
All right.
Okay. Put Xenoblade down and just play Elden Ring. Do me a favor.
I'm playing Elden Ring.
He tried.
I'm still in Stormvale. I'm playing Elden Ring.
I don't even know what that is. So you're farther than I am. There you
It's
go.
the first legacy, what they call the legacy dungeon. So you have these regions in Elden Ring, and then you get to an area which kind of has like a demigod, and it's like a huge level within the game world.
They're really big.
Yeah, Stormvale is massive.
No idea.
Yeah, I won't go on about it. But yeah, you're early still. You're early.
I know this.
You're early.
Yeah, I mean, very early in that game. I will talk to you about a little game you probably. Oh, go Dan, go.
You sure?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Everspace 2. I got this year, and it was awesome. And I'm still playing it. It's very long. There's not a lot of space sim shooters out there. And it's not. I don't know. It's not as. It's better than Everspace 1. But I also love that game. So
because I love Everspace 1. And
it's a lot more. It's a lot more in depth.
Wrong time, but
yeah. Also on sale
for
about $30. I'm guessing.
Sequel to
Released on PC earlier this year, I think, but it came to the PlayStation, Xbox. I want to say August. It's right during
August.
Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate
Okay.
time.
So yeah, it came out. Okay.
Yeah, and it was
at the same time as Starfield.
Yeah, just before it. So I thought it was great. I need to get back to it. I also need to get.
Speaking of Starfield, it's on my list of forgotten games.
I would love to put Starfield on here, but I don't think it's forgotten in any reasonable way.
Oh, I think it's forgotten. By 3 of 4 members on this panel, it has been forgotten, which is why none of you guys have played that game.
Nope, I played it this last week.
How many minutes?
I played it through the intro and out to New Atlantis again. I restarted it. You know what I do.
Of course. My point
Hogue is perpetually stuck in chapter 1 of like 19 games.
I think that game was forgotten.
Guilty as charged. Oh, I don't think it's forgotten, and I'm looking forward to how they expand it in DLC and how they sell it to me for.
I am looking forward to revisiting it. Same as Hogue, yeah.
Every time I pop into Starfield, I'm impressed. I think Starfield got a bit of a bum rap because it's not Skyrim, but I pop in and say, no, this is definitely a game that immediately grabs me personally, and so I really like that game. But yeah, is it forgotten? No, I think Starfield trended during the Game Awards announcements, didn't it?
Along with Xbox tax.
I believe it trended as people saying that it had been forgotten.
People saying that it had been left off the list, but that's not forgotten.
Yeah,
you can't trend on Twitter with a forgotten title.
My point is, I think a lot of people forgot about that game, and I think some people aren't willing to admit that they forgot about it.
I have not forgotten about Starfield.
I forgot about it. So just because you stopped playing it doesn't mean you forgot about it. It means you're just playing something else.
I'm just saying, I played 200 hours of that game and actually finished it. And we were supposed to have a big debate after you guys played more of it so that we could talk about more than just the first 10
That
hours.
is true.
It never happened.
That is also true.
I don't play games
I'm personally am salty because I felt like once you guys played more of that game, you guys were going to see my side of it, and we never got to have that part of the debate, and it bums me out.
We need to make a pledge to Travis that once we get to the point where we can talk more intelligently about Starfield in the late game, we come back and revisit that conversation.
I will keep playing Starfield. I really enjoy that world and bouncing around inside Starfield, so I will keep playing it.
That's my December game. I'm getting ready.
Oh,
okay.
No, not my December game, Travis. That's Pandora. I'm heading to Pandora for December, so sorry
I don't
about
trust Ubisoft with that IP, so
that. I do trust Ubisoft.
no.
I like Ubisoft games in general.
Well, so do I. I really do.
I don't
I
think
don't
there's
know.
any
It
reason
looks
to
fun.
believe it.
It just looks like Far Cry Avatar, however you
Yes.
want to say that and piece it together, which is
Yeah.
fine. That's probably going to be fun.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not expecting, I guess it's probably expectations, right? I'm not expecting a game of the year winner out of Avatar, but
Nope.
will it be fun? I bet it'll be fun. Guess we'll see. We're only a couple weeks away from that finally releasing. We've been hearing about it for years. So
That's the Avatar way.
yeah, true. They were just paying homage this whole time. Game's been ready for 2 years. What was I going to say? I want to talk to you about a little game you might have heard of called Redfall.
So
It's
I haven't played it.
forgotten for a
Could hear the
reason.
crickets. Yeah, I know.
It's much better with the patch, and I have gone in and played it again, but it's just not compelling enough to compete with my time for anything else.
No, it is not super compelling. It is not. I say it partially joking, of course, given the narrative about the game. But I haven't tried it on Xbox. I know Xbox got the updates and they changed some other things. Like I said, I played it on PC at launch, so performance-wise, it was much, much better than Xbox at launch. But as I said in my review, the game, as you get into it, and I've said this before, it does a really bad thing, which we always joke about here, which is like after you put 15 hours into it, it gets better. Like it shouldn't be that way, but sadly, it is that way. The second half of that game is much better than the first half, and it does actually have some really cool stuff that it does. It's not excellent. It's not a 9 out of 10. It's not, game of the year contender, but for a game either in Game Pass now that's gotten updates or that you can get on the cheap and you just want something to goof off with, especially if you're playing in co-op, it's worth giving a look at some point. That's what I would say about that game.
See, if I'm playing co-op and I want to fight zombies or the undead or vampires or whatever, I'm playing Dead Island 2.
Dead Island 2's on my list.
Yeah, Dead Island 2 is good. Good game. I feel
No
like
one
we've
should have
talked about
forgotten
Dead
Dead
Island
2.
too. Well, Travis and I both reviewed it. I know we've talked about it quite a bit. I think we both gave it an 8. It's a good game.
Dead Island 2 is a good game. Do not forget Dead Island 2. I didn't even think we'd have this conversation. It's not on my list because who could have forgotten it?
No, it's a very fun game. I still wish they would have gone bigger with the level design, but that's just me. Other than that, I really enjoyed it. It's even got a kind of fun, the arc of the story it takes is pretty good too. Yeah, it's a good game. Very good game. So,
and for the record, we had the conversation about Grand Theft Auto last week or the other week. I think it handles satire of Los Angeles better than Rockstar does.
Definitely has some funny parts.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get you and Travis started on that piece again, though.
No.
Which one?
Nothing. Nope. Dan, I know I know you played this. I didn't play it. I forgot that the expansion for Horizon Forbidden West came out this year, Burning Shores.
Did it?
It did.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Am I forgetting? I thought you finished it.
No.
Okay.
I finished it 100%. I didn't realize it came out this year.
Yeah, worth your time?
I totally forgot about it. So it's an apt game to talk about right now. Yeah, I mean, for the it's on sale again. Also, from the Dan sales, it's there. Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, if you like Horizon, then this is more of that with some.
You have to beat Forbidden West to get to it, right?
You do have to finish Forbidden West to get to it.
That's a task.
It's kind of rough. If you can do that, which I've done a couple times, you'll be fine. You're good to go. Listen, I beat that game on the hardest difficulty there is, which is saying a lot because, you know, either that or it means that the hardest difficulty in Horizon is really not that hard, which I'm leaning towards. So it's a super fun game. They did a really good job with the expansion. Very, very cool kind of ending boss thing. They kind of you know, if you're a fan of Aloy, they kind of pushed her character a little bit farther as far as, like, you know, getting to know who she is, and, you know, it sets up another game coming after that. So there's, you know, Horizon, you know, not so forbidden East maybe is next. I have no idea. You know,
By the way, Darth Mac called you Deal Guy Dan, and I think that's got to be your new name, Deal Guy Dan.
I think Dan might be Wario 64 secretly. Do we know?
That's my buddy.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, he's your buddy, your friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Bruce Wayne's friend Batman.
I've never seen them post at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I love getting deals, man. I love them. So I'm always looking for them.
My biggest problem is, and I do this even when they're not on sale, is I'm really trying to be better about just buying games because they're releasing when I know I don't have time to play them.
Yeah.
I do that way
That's
too
what
often.
I do with Starfield. I figured, well, once that comes out and Forza comes out, I'll sign up for a month of Game Pass and play them both.
I like feeling when I have time that I have a lot of options of what to play. So that's how you get the smattering of chapter ones from me. But
you get so much.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think. Yeah, yeah.
One
I
day
got
I'll
nothing else
take
to
back
say.
one Baldur's Gate, but I'll have to stop creating characters at some point.
Gamefire says, did PSVR 2 get forgotten? The funny thing is PSVR 2 is literally at the top of my list. Just because, you know, it came out in February, it came out with a large number of games, but I think, as we've talked about previously here, not a lot of what we would call, or any for that matter, new kind of standout experiences, especially from first party. Call of the Mountain was supposed to be that. Synapse is good. Yes, very good. But Call of the Mountain was supposed to be that. It wasn't.
Yeah, Call of the Mountain is not where it is, but Synapse is great.
Yeah. Synapse is great, and then they've got the roller coaster horror game, but I think that's all they've gotten in terms of exclusive deals with third parties. Meanwhile, Meta's out here spending lots of money to get games like Assassin's Creed Nexus, which is on my forgotten games list, by the way. And I think they've had a lot more luck with, or not luck, I just more aggressive strategy, more money put into it, whereas PlayStation feels like it's not really coming to play in the VR space, unfortunately.
If you're Facebook versus Sony, that's how it's going to look.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah. But I feel like PlayStation, you know, Sony, their whole strategy is we'll pay money to keep it off of the other platforms, and the fact that we're so ingrained in the game space that Meta is sort of still considered an outsider. You know, they've got what is it called, Sangonzu game or whatever, but they don't really have a whole lot of studios in house.
But they do have a lot of money.
They do have a lot of money, and they're clearly throwing that money around, which is good for them. But you could say the same of Xbox, and it doesn't work for them. And that's probably just about adoption. How many people actually have the platform versus Meta?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sony looks at it and says, we can go and buy support of things that are on Meta or things that are on Vive or whatever in a way that isn't actually going to be seen by many folks as not being a PlayStation VR game, because you aren't usually, Travis, you aren't usually having 6 VR helmets somewhere in your living room. So PSVR 2 has only a couple exclusive games, perhaps, but it has a lot of games. They just happen to be games that probably appeared on MetaQuest 2 or 3 first.
But that's bad because the MetaQuest is $300 and their headset is twice as expensive.
I've already talked to you about how this is a stupid business proposition from Sony.
It's not a stupid business proposition if they actually put money into the platform and developing games that could only work on that platform. It's stupid. Yes. Their model is stupid if you're just going to copy Meta because your headset is twice as expensive.
There's a lot of if-thens we can do about it would be different if it were different.
It'd be different if They could make it different, though, is my point. It's not like it's different and it's completely out of their control. It's just a shit strategy.
It was always a shit strategy, right? You don't go and compete solely on hardware and then don't have any support on the software side. But that's what they said they were going to do. We're gonna over-engineer this thing, and I like my PSVR 2, but we're going to over-engineer this thing, and then we're only going to release games every once in a while.
Well, they didn't say that they weren't going to support.
Oh, they did. When they announced their games, and it was 8 meta games.
Yes.
Call of the Mountain. You knew what their strategy was.
I mean, I think when we were debating this, we were like, hey, you were saying, I think it's going to fail because it's too expensive. And I said, I agree with that if they don't support it with good first party software. And I think that was
in the context of the early blog posts as well. I don't think you're giving me as much credit as I deserve on this.
Yeah, but your point was that it was a loser on price, and I don't think that was true at all.
Fantastic.
You were saying that it was a loser just on price, and I don't.
It's over-engineered. I mean, people would defend it and say, "Well, you get all these bells and whistles, and that's why it's this money," and that's fine. And I don't love. We talked about it earlier in this episode. I don't love what Meta has done with our unit is only $550, but if you want it to drive off the lot, you're gonna have to spend another $500. I don't love that model either, but here we are. So I would like to play Asgard's Wrath, and Sony should get on that kind of stuff. But what can I do?
Well, Asgard's Wrath is never going to come to another platform because they actually got bought by Sony, that studio.
Meta, you mean?
Oh, sorry, Meta. Yeah, they got bought by Meta.
Right.
But I mean, I think the PSVR 2 is only too expensive and only over engineered if the plan was to just copy MetaQuest and make those same games on their platform. Then it's dumb. But if your plan was to do things that the MetaQuest couldn't do, like Half-Life Alyx, like I think Synapse gets kind of close. Maybe MetaQuest could do that, but I don't think nearly as well. And so if they had planned to support more stuff like that, I think it could be a completely different story. I think then we'd be talking about, well, the MetaQuest is the cheap bargain bin, but you can't do experiences like you can in the PSVR 2. And unfortunately, they just did not put their money or time or focus on that platform. And maybe it's because they are a smaller company. Maybe it's because they're divided. They're still trying to support their console, which frankly has a software problem right now.
It does.
Yeah, I think they have other.
Sony has a clear strategy for anything that they're doing right now.
I just don't think they're serious about VR and about being a leader there. They just want to have a headset so that we can say, yeah, we do that too. And if you're doing that, $600 is the wrong price point, I think. But I'm upset because I feel like there was an opportunity for a legit company within the gaming space, not an outsider like Meta, to come in and say, we're going to be the premier leader here and get some people off the MetaQuest, because especially when the MetaQuest 2 was the headset, I feel like it was really holding game development back because that headset is so weak. Now with the MetaQuest 3, it's kind of a different story. We're going to see hopefully better games coming out. But man, I'm so bummed out about the PSVR 2.
I was going to say that the strange thing, right, is if you look at PlayStation's financial sheets and where their investment is, the investment into game development is higher than it's ever been, both across single player IP, what they call traditional in their documents, right, versus mobile and or VR. Why we're not?
How much of that is VR though?
I don't know. It doesn't break it down to that degree, but that's my point. Is I agree with you that the potential is there, and you would think that we would be seeing more in the space, especially given what they showed last year from investment standpoint. But as we've talked about many times here, we know nothing of what they're doing right now, realistically.
They fired their front office. So, I mean, it's not clear, or their front office left. However that went down, Sony is rudderless right now, and it's in some important ways. And that might have to do with decisions that were made previously. It might not. But if you love VR, as I do, as I think Travis does, judging from the number of helmets he claims to have in the house,
I'll bring him out right now.
You want to see it succeed. I would love to see PSVR 2 succeed. I love my PSVR 2. I like how it fits on my head. I like playing it. It's an improvement on the PSVR 1, certainly. I still think it was a mistake to not have backwards compatibility across the PS4
Huge.
and PS5.
Agree.
But I disagree only in that I think that it's hard for me to see not having a Meta next to me like Travis does exactly what isn't a Sony game, right? So I think Sony's looking at it and saying, do you really know whether you can play Seventh Guest VR on the MetaQuest? Who knows? You've got this helmet right now. Buy it from us.
I think
that's exactly Sony's strategy is.
But I think that works against them. If you don't know that you could play it on both, why would you spend $500 on a console and then another $500 on a headset when you could just buy a $300 headset? If there's no exclusivity like clarity, wouldn't you go for the cheap option?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think what Hoag's saying, if I'm understanding correctly, which I agree with, is I think Sony was really, or PlayStation, however you want to phrase it, was really just betting on brand loyalty. That people within the PlayStation walled garden bought their PSVR 2 and would look at any of these VR experiences as new and unique.
Yeah, so
which I think is true. That's what they were betting on. I just don't think the bet has paid off like they thought it would.
I think the PlayStation player is the exact opposite of the VR player market. VR player market is extremely casual. It's extremely young. There's a lot of young people on those headsets. Play any game and you'll find that out.
My girls love a lot of what I call the VR experience games. They're not even games as much as they're sandboxes, and picking up blocks and putting them in your backpack or whatever it is, flipping a pancake in VR.
Yeah, it's like there's the exercise casuals who just like want the headset so that when it's raining or snowing outside, they can get exercise without having a bunch of equipment. There's the people who are like learning languages. There's like a big like, oh, I want to learn Japanese. I'll buy a game that helps me like learn words by interacting with a VR world where they all speak in Japanese words, stuff like that. I just think it's extremely casual. And if you're going to make basically like the PSVR 2 is kind of competing with the Valve Index more than it's competing with the MetaQuest. But the difference is the Index plays everything and it has a killer app. And the PSVR 2 doesn't really have that. And yeah, man,
think Sony has Call of the Mountain is not a good VR game. And they keep trying to make these AAA VR games that don't work. They need to rethink their entire strategy of what a VR game is and what it does well. Because they're getting their lunch eaten by VR companies that specialize in VR, but understand that the experiential, tactile nature of VR is what it does better than playing on a screen, versus Call of the Mountain would probably be better if you were just playing it on your couch.
Yeah.
I don't think Call of Mountain is that remarkable, no matter how you're playing it, honestly. But
some VR games are so cool, man. Some VR games are so cool. I have a couple of VR games on my.
It's really fun. I just said at the top of this episode, Walkabout Mini Golf. There's no reason it should be as fun as it is. It's because it's in VR. It's just polygonal mini golf, but it feels like you're playing mini golf and you walk the course.
I'm literally going to go to the store after this because I play my PSVR 2 probably 2 to 3 times a week. But I'm playing Beat Saber. I'm playing Pistol Whip. I'm playing games like that. But yeah, I'm going to go
games that would probably be better on the MetaQuest because you wouldn't have to be wired up.
Oh, I have a MetaQuest here too.
I mean that's a pro con, right? Because it's better on the Quest to have the free space. Like that's better than tethered, period, Sony. But it's better graphically with the tether and the PlayStation 5 running it.
Yeah.
Well, Walkabout Mini Golf's not going to be better on the PS4.
No. I was talking about Pistol Whip when you
sure.
Yeah. And remember, like the tether doesn't bother me at all. It's a 15-foot cable, and I'm like 6 feet from the space. You know what I mean? So
that's just because you're playing Pistol Whip and Beat Saber where you don't spin, though. When you play like an action game where you're spinning around, it'll bother you.
Yeah, you just said Pistol Whip and Beat Saber would be better untethered. I think that's what I'm responding to. I'm not talking about.
I was referring to the last one. Walkabout Mini Golf. Walkabout Mini Golf does have a lot of spinning if you're like trying to get the positioning right. And I played with a cord once because my headset was out of battery, and it sucks. It's like markedly worse.
To be clear, it does not suck. It may be markedly worse.
Yeah, it sucks once you've had it cordless. It's just one of those things. Like once you've played cordless, it's just like you can't really go back. And I say that as somebody who does go back. I go back to play exclusive. Like if I'm playing Half-Life Alyx, I've got to play on my Valve Index. And if I'm playing Synapse, I've got to play on PSVR 2. And those games are great. But even when I'm playing Synapse, like you guys ever spin in that game on accident and then you have to reset yourself because that game kind of, when you're looking over your shoulder, you kind of want to spin in that. It becomes a problem. So
I have
The only
my
thing I'll
VR.
say, just to close out the PSVR 2 thing real quick, because I know we've talked a lot about it. I'm hopeful, not optimistic. So take my words to heart. Hopeful that whenever we get this next state of play, or whenever PlayStation decides to tell us what the hell they have coming in 2024, hopeful that there's some PSVR 2 stuff there from first party. Optimistic, I am not, because they haven't shown us.
Astrobot VR 2. Come on, folks.
Please, I would go nuts for that. Like, please give us something like that. But it doesn't feel, to your guys' point in this conversation, it doesn't feel like that's what we're gonna get. But we'll see. I'm hopeful.
I mean, the fact that they haven't brought over a patch to bring Astrobot to the PlayStation VR 2 is crazy to me. It's one of the best VR games ever.
Sorry, I'm
Sorry,
making
I would-
recommendations in the chat for how to learn different languages in VR, because it's a big thing.
Honestly,
also-
I
you
hadn't
also
heard
learn
of
to
it
play the
before you
drums.
mentioned it, but immersion through VR would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's honestly great. So my fiance has been learning Japanese through a game called Noun Town, which is a game where you walk around a town, and anytime you pick up an item, it says the word in Japanese and makes you repeat it. It has a bunch of different languages. I was going to learn
That's
Tagalog
very cool.
for it stuff. But yeah, and then it'll do like little mini games where you'll be like working at a cafe and people will say their orders in Japanese. Then you have to turn around and grab the item that matches the word that they said.
Nice.
You have to say it when you give it to them. So you're learning pronunciation and stuff. And then it gets more advanced. Like you start learning like verbs and how to put sentences together and
Whoa,
like stuff like that.
Verb Town.
Yeah, it's not
You're gonna
verb town,
take
it's
it
noun
verb
town, but you do. Yeah, that was I made the same joke when she learned verbs. I was like, whoa, false advertising. What happened to the verbs? And it has features that are exclusive to the MetaQuest 3, like if because of the transparency mode, you can play the game in transparency mode where like your objects in the real world will match the nouns and stuff like that. But if you only buy the MetaQuest 2, you can use it. You can use it fully in the virtual world. So yeah, there's a lot of cool, like really interesting, weird stuff in VR that I think gets overlooked. And I will say a few of those that are on my overlooked games, forgotten games. Cosmonius High.
Cosmonius High is great. Alchemy is the top of the VR list for me. They make Job Simulator, Vacation Simulator, Cosmonius. They do this experience so well in VR.
Yeah.
So highly recommended.
Yeah, Cosmonius High is absolutely awesome. I already mentioned Assassin's Creed Nexus, which I think is already.
You want to explain real quick what Cosmonius High is?
Oh yeah. You want to do, Hogue?
Yeah, you're an alien in a cartoon space high school when things go terribly wrong, and
it's a goofy game.
Vacation Simulator or Job Simulator, it's very funny. But with Cosmonius, they've added in the ability to kind of have dialogue and questions and interact with the characters on a more personal level. It's excellent. It's available on your PSVR 2.
It is. Yeah. That's a great one. Assassin's Creed Nexus, I think, is already being forgotten, even though that is a really good game, just because it's a MetaQuest 3 game. And I think a lot of people don't have that or don't know that that's even a thing. But I would just recommend that game to any fan of VR or just a fan of Assassin's Creed who wants to play it, because it really is super cool. And then I'll just like preemptively say Asgard's Wrath 2 is probably also going to be a forgotten game, especially since it comes out in December. So it means it's not going to be included in the awards if it's good next year. And, December games always kind of get left off, like having a Halo Infinite. I'm sure it's going to happen to the Avatar game. But I preemptively Asgard's Wrath 2, I'm sure is going to be kind of forgotten. So,
damn.
The good news is I don't think anybody cares about the Keeleys if it sells a lot. So buy good games, folks.
Yeah. And actually, Asgard's Wrath 2, they don't really have to worry about it because they come bundled with every MetaQuest 3. So
yeah, people will be playing that no matter what.
Yeah, people will play it.
Awesome. Let's get caught up. We've got some super chats and some stuff to call out here. Strive said he has been, I forget the comment now. I apologize, Strive, but basically wanted to become a member over the Hogue side for a while. So thank you for becoming a member and also gifting 5 memberships on the Hogue.
Wow. Thank you, Strive.
Good stuff, Strive. Thank you. Siddharth is here.
Hey, Siddharth is here with the Indian rupees. 40 Indian rupees. 70% on the Steam says something about Starfield. I don't know what that says.
Is that 70% positive on Steam?
It's probably 70% positive, I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah, like a 7 out of 10 on the dot.
I knew Travis was going to say that.
Dude, I feel vindicated on that one. I don't know, man.
To be fair, you said you'd give it an 8.
I did say I'd give it an 8, and that was I think that was before I'd finished it, and after I finished it, I think I don't know, dude. That game, you go up and down the longer you play it. You have such highs and such lows. But yeah, it's a 7 or an 8. Seems like the right score to me. 9 to 10.
Guys,
seems
we should
crazy.
play that game so we can talk about it with Travis.
It'd be great.
I've played a lot of hours of Starfield.
I have
The
40
same
hours.
4
in it,
hours.
but-
So, he's playing like the same 4 over and over again, though, man. It's so good.
That's the Hogue way, though.
I haven't
I
played
do
any,
have
so I
40
got no
hours
one
in
to
it. I
talk.
played it quite a bit at launch, but
It's not the 8 days I have in Diablo 4. Do we have to comment on that being forgotten?
I don't think
Hey,
so.
I saw a super chat.
Forgotten in Jeff's Game of the Year awards, maybe, but not anywhere else.
yeah.
And I know I personally won't let it be forgotten, but yeah. Starfield,
way,
Diablo 4, great games.
By the way, I saw I'm nearly at 45 days in Halo. It's out of control.
That's disgusting.
Sidar, thank you. Good to hear from you. Console Peasant.
Yeah, terrible. You know what's forgotten? Hitman Freelancer. Let me tell you something. Not by this guy. This guy played it this week, and it's still going. Still haven't got to level 100. Just kind of taking my time. It's really grindy. Give him that much. I'm not a big fan of the grind, but yeah, I still play it every day.
It's really
500 plus
grindy?
hours.
I was going to say,
Grinding.
don't you have like several hundred hours in Hitman?
I have
You're calling
500
it grinding?
hours. I tweeted it out this week. Like 21 days, according to somebody in Hitman. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way,
Okay,
we were just
all
talking about Synapse. Synapse is also kind of a forgotten game, by the way. I say it's forgotten because like IGN didn't review that one either. And when I found that out, I was like, what? We didn't review Synapse. They were like, no one cared about that game. Damn.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Crazy.
Very good experience.
Also, I Expect
Also,
You to Die 3 came out this year, which is a great game that is also
Did it?
overlooked.
What did it come out on?
MetaQuest. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
on other platforms.
It's not on
Yeah.
Sony yet.
Yikes. I wonder if they have a timed exclusive because aren't the other ones on PSVR?
The first 2 were on PSVR 1, and the next one I suppose could be on PSVR 1. I wouldn't know.
True. Separate library. But yeah, I Expect You to Die 3 came out this year. MetaQuest. Good game. Like they all are. All those games are great. If you never played
They're a
them.
little short, but I like them.
I like that they're short. That's one of their greatest attributes. Yeah.
Should I continue now?
Yeah, sure. We're just discussing on this podcast.
Were you just talking about 45 hours of Halo? Or are we still on that?
45 hours. That's like a
45
week.
days?
Come on,
Whatever.
man.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot that you've earned a pilot's licenses.
Yeah, no doubt.
No
No
Very
doubt.
nice.
Don's here.
Don. Oh, and you know what? While we're talking about forgotten games, I recommended Don pick up MLB The Show 23. Very forgotten game. Has some really great, new stuff in it. So the Negro Leagues playthroughs with the different players is really cool. I'm glad they updated it finally. Go and pick it up. It's like $20 right now on
Nice.
sale, or it's on Game Pass. Play it.
Nice.
It's awesome. So anyway, with the $5, Don, hello all. I hope Thanksgiving was wonderful for you all. Enjoying the time with my family. Also got the Assassin's Creed Mirage Platinum. Nice.
You didn't say
anyone
Mirage
play
properly.
Eternites? What?
You didn't say Mirage properly.
Mirage.
It's better. I feel better.
All right. Anyone play Eternites?
Yes,
They say it. There you go.
I have played Eternites or Eternites.
Eternites. Come on.
It is okay.
Is it Enternites? That's stupid.
It's like
What?
eternity. It's
yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I said it.
He said it
Alright.
the first time. Hogue was just
That's what I
being.
thought. Eternites.
He's keeping his
Alright.
options open for some reason. I don't know.
You got to keep your options open.
I'm going to tell that to co-counsel. He said he's keeping his options open. Well, no,
Your lord.
doesn't sound good to me, man.
But no,
Guys.
Eternites is okay. It starts stronger than it is as a game. I like the beginning of it quite a bit, and it gets a little bit stuck as to whether it wants to be a fairly bad action game or a fairly decent kind of relationship simulator game. And so it kind of gets weighed down by the former, unfortunately, but I like it enough. Apparently it's made by a very small team, but it's okay. I wish it were a little better.
Fair enough. Mirage, by the way, anecdotally feels like one that came out they tried to give people what they wanted, and it sounds like it did well, I guess, but
turns out
it sold crazy good.
Sometimes the people who are allowed on social media aren't the ones who are buying the games. Weird. It's crazy.
Well, I think this is a little bit unfair, right? I mean, this is like you get the reports and articles from like Starfield play has dropped off, or some of these other things that just don't make a lot of sense. I think Mirage came and went, but that's because it was designed to come and go and isn't Valhalla, right? So it doesn't have this live service, what are we going to tweet about today kind of aspect to it. And I think people wrongly think that if there aren't constant articles being written or there aren't social media posts being made, that the game is like a failure, right? And games disappear because you play them and you enjoy them in the comfort of your own home. And you don't always have to tweet about what you enjoyed about Mirage or Starfield or anything else. Mirage, yes. Sorry.
Yep.
I mean,
fair.
I would like to say that is also the argument that people use against live service games as having failed. So it's interesting to see that dichotomy.
I mean, I would offer to people that it shouldn't matter outside of the servers surviving and the company not going bankrupt about whether or not the rest of your fellow people in the video game industry are enjoying the same game you are.
Correct.
Right. So a lot of this is kind of this rivalrous, my game is better than your game and your game is dead type thing, which doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make for better gaming, and you'll enjoy yourself more if you just enjoy what you enjoy. Yeah.
Fair enough. By the way, it does show, I was just quickly looking while you were talking. Yeah, Mirage sales were 22% higher than Odyssey at launch. So,
good. They pull Odyssey as their number.
Well, I mean, it's 6% higher than Origins. They were just
probably
comparing to other Assassin's Creed releases.
Would be my guess.
So, yeah, I think, they've said before, Valhalla is their most successful financial game. Ubisoft, right? It's over $1 billion in revenue.
I mean, if I were Ubisoft, I would also choose the games that sold worse to compare it against.
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, like, that's the game you can always play, right? If they tell you the percentage, ask for the real. If they tell you the real, ask for the percentage. And if they go 2 games back, ask what the game in between was.
Yeah. Yep. Don, thank you very much. We've got some Papa Hogue comments.
Oh, nice. No.
He's back from last week.
So I do think there's a typo in the first sentence here. He's going to apologize.
I think there's a couple of them.
Yeah, he'll get there.
Excellent show, as usual.
That's
just wanted to say, we didn't want to stab. Wanted to say congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. Go blue. That hurt me. Starfield is as good as it gets, though I'll never finish it if it really takes 200 hours.
Dad, you'll never finish Starfield. I didn't even know you bought it, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It's your
I didn't know Thomas Hogue played games. This is news to me.
This is the guy that got me into games.
It's awesome.
Wow. It's crazy some people have supportive families. Doesn't that blow your guys' mind?
It's amazing.
Isn't that bizarre and otherworldly? Like Hogue is
insane.
What you've had no hardship in life. What a son.
What I hear. What I hear. By the way, no hardship.
By the way, did you say that's Ains as usual? So
I think excellent show as usual. Ains. Yes.
Cool. So I can go by Law now. That's my new name. Law.
That's Ela.
La.
2 L's, by the way.
I think
not
that's
one.
Illa.
Illa. Yeah. That's,
Illa.
yeah. You can buy that one a little thicker.
It's a little okay. I'm going to buy Illa. My new name's Illa. I like it.
Illa.
I like it, Papa Hogue.
Killer.
But there's no question my dad would love Starfield. So I'm glad he's gotten a chance to try it.
Nice. He did follow up.
Yeah. Sorry for all the typos. Still can't get the hang of autocorrect. Welcome to my world, buddy. I love both my Quest 2 and wait a minute, hold on.
And 3.
And do all my grandkids. All right. Never touch my
kids really
PlayStation
love
VR. Yeah, hands mode without controllers is the greatest. Hands mode. Don't know what that means.
Hands mode. It means it
you
does
can literally
hand tracking.
control it with just your fingers.
And some games actually designed to play without controllers. Like they do the hand tracking as their main input, which is really interesting.
That's cool. You know what else did that? Connect.
Yep. Hey, don't get me started on the Connect. Somebody who has every achievement in all 3 Dance Central games. Do not get me started on the Connect, Ains.
Hey, I like the Connect.
I learned
2.0.
Usher routines.
I
Usher
like the Connect.
routines.
I want video of Travis playing Dance Central.
Oh, dude, Vogue.
think
You
we
don't
all
even know, dude. My skills on the dance floor unrivaled because of Connect, because of Dance Central.
My skills on the dance floor unrivaled. That's
I'm
my
telling
quote.
you.
We made the
I'm
wrong
telling
bet.
you. I had a girlfriend for a number of years who I met because I was at a party dancing and I was pulling out Connect Dance Central moves. No joke. And she turns to her friends and goes, "He's a good dancer." And that's how we met. Literally. Next thing you know, she's over at my place doing Dance Central. You know how we do?
Those are the moves, folks. Those are the moves.
That's my version of fourth base, dog. I just get you over. We're just doing
Fourth base.
yeah, dude, for sure. Home plate. I don't know. We're talking about 2 things I don't know about: relations with women and sports. It's really the perfect overlap.
Oh my god!
I don't think we can improve upon that as a send off.
No.
Yeah, that's
Nope.
perfect.
Fourth base.
Fourth base.
What do you call it? Home plate? I don't know.
I don't call it any of those things.
Oh my lord!
Oh, that's great. I
love
man,
the Connect is my point, I guess.
I'm a
and all
Connect
that.
apologist, man. I loved Connect 2.0, man.
They just
Come
should
on.
never have bundled it. The bundling with the Xbox One was the problem.
Exactly. Oh man, Papa Hogue, thank you for getting us onto that topic. That was appreciated.
Rough.
All right, moving on. Thank you again. Siddharth is back.
With another 100 rupees. Also, Halo Infinite in place of Cyberpunk for ongoing game. Happy
Yep.
holidays,
Yes,
guys.
thank you, Siddharth. Agree with you.
Cyberpunk is ongoing game is a crazy inclusion, but hey,
That's
what can you
insane.
do?
I mean,
Yeah.
it is ongoing.
Not-
I probably got more updates this year than a lot of live service games because it was so broken.
Totally revamp its game, but I don't think that's ongoing as much as replaced.
Yeah, I don't
that's
know
fair.
what this means, but I think you would just have to explain what you mean by ongoing game before you just start nominating games that aren't explicitly.
Yeah, and
live service.
we read the description, didn't we? And it was already kind of like
blurry.
It wasn't very descriptive as you would expect for a topic like that. But
I heard from
anyway.
somebody that like Keeley basically just gets the people he wants on the board, and then he says nominate games, and there's no real guidance. Like it's just sort of like do whatever you want. And so sometimes when it comes out weird, it's just because it's not curated and there's no like rules set in advance, which sounds like the truth just based on the nominees that we've gotten. And so
given the nominees, yeah,
it's like a lack of clarity, and there's no like editorial, like, no, I'm Jeff, I'm going to cut that one off because I don't think it fits in that category. It's just sort of like, yeah, whatever you think this means, that's what it means. So now Sifu's a fighting game,
but you need like a lawyer in there enforcing rules or something.
Yeah, I think you can keep your hands clean by just setting the rules before you go and let people nominate, and then if they break the rules, then being like, hey, we talked about this game doesn't fit. But it sounds like none of that happens. You just sort of like hands the keys to the people on the panel, and they just do whatever they want, and that's why sometimes you get weird nominations. And also, since it's
like
the same
Sifu.
people voting, yeah, like Sifu, and since everybody's voting for the same, it's the same people voting for every category. Also, why you get some weird categories where people maybe don't know what they're talking about, because it's hard to be an expert on everything, like sports and racing games and simulators and strategy games and stuff.
No, you'd have to be someone like us here on the Bitcast.
I don't think if this panel was like doing simulator strategy games that we would do a great job.
Age of Wonders 4 would get nominated.
Yeah, but I don't know if we have enough expertise. Like half of the panel doesn't play many of those games.
No,
at all,
I think Hogue is saying combined as a unit, we cover a lot of bases.
That's true. We're pretty good, and I think so are some of the people nominating. I just think it's tough to be an expert in every single category, which is why they shouldn't do the nominations that way, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And Season Gaming will not be doing them that way.
Speaking of games that should not be forgotten, Age of Wonders 4.
It's a good one.
There you go.
Still need to play more of that.
Siddharth, thank you very much. A couple member comments. Rob Frawley.
Rob, I'm sorry I lied to y'all. I actually hate turkey. I mean, it's fine. You know, we can't all be awesome.
I feel like that was written for you to read, Dan.
It was.
I
It
know it is.
absolutely was. It's great.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, he wrote that just so that you would have to say those words.
I did not say I actually
said
hate
them.
turkey.
You just said it. I just heard it.
got
I'm
me.
going to clip it out and I'm going to put it on
Got me.
Twitter. Yeah.
That's it.
We
Yeah,
got
it's
him.
gonna be
Ladies and gentlemen,
We
we
got
got him.
Well
That's
played,
it.
Rob. Well played.
Well, you can add that to the stupid, autocorrect that I had when it said something about ham in our chat. It was terrible. I still regret it. It's terrible. Forgotten gaming scandal of the year. I don't have no idea.
Yeah, I likely forgot
Scandal?
about it.
The Xbox
I don't know if the
tax.
Starfield review has been.
Xbox
No, the
tax.
Xbox tax hasn't been forgotten. My least favorite
That's true.
scandal this year was the one where like IGN forgot to put certain platforms in some of their tweets, and people were like, "Oh, that's a sign of bias," when actually it was just our database wasn't updated because somebody quit and we didn't replace them quick enough. Was basically what happened. So yeah, that one. Like sometimes I'll see things online and they're so stupid I can't even engage with them. And that
I
was
see that a
definitely one of them.
lot. So yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
It's 90% of Twitter.
I can engage with stupid arguments because I'm used to people saying things that just flabbergast me. But like sometimes it's so dumb, I'm just like I can't even.
Clearly, the dumbest gaming scandal of the year is freaking Wild Stallions and Signgate. No,
The what?
It took me a
Fourth
second.
base, Travis. Fourth base.
Yeah,
Fourth base.
he's talking about the Michigan scandal with the sign stealing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that thing. Fourth base.
Michigan cheats. We got to the bottom of this last week. They cheat. It's
oh
fine.
yes,
That's my
Indeed.
who's on fourth. Is that my skit? You guys just say fourth base
Who's on
whenever I
fourth?
get too off track.
That's just how
Fourth
we say
base.
sports to Travis.
Shush, thank you, and Googleman.
Man, Googleman, come back. Star Citizen recently released a Star Engine demo that I highly recommend for anyone interested in burning spaceships and clouds. Also,
I don't recommend Star Citizen to anyone.
Well, this is just a demo of an engine, so I mean, it's the
Yeah.
kind of thing they could release.
That sounds like something Star Citizen would be releasing 12 years along in its development.
Yeah, that game is like a soap opera to me. I
Hey,
don't.
man, when you're paid not to release your game, don't be surprised when they don't release their game.
It's pretty true.
nice.
No. Yep. Googleman, thank you very much. All
Oh,
right,
man.
gents. One thing we got asked about, which Hogue I wanted to bring up, is someone asked whether we're going to be talking about it. I didn't think we would this week. Maybe we'll touch on it next week. But I don't know if you're going to be covering this lawsuit that PlayStation has to face, the class action lawsuit.
I might. It's a piece of the Epic lawsuit against Apple, right? So it's this notion that a 30% cut of a digital store controlled by a hardware manufacturer is somehow anti-competitive. And so I think it faces the same kind of weaknesses that Epic's argument did. But I do think legislatively, politically, there are ears that are willing to hear this particular tale be told from a political perspective that the law just really isn't designed to cover right now, because I don't think you can actually make a case that Sony, even controlling its digital output and its storefront, is actually raising prices for consumers or otherwise making things monopolistically worse for people that want to purchase video games. And that's for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that everybody charges 30%. But more to the point, that you're making the choice of what ecosystem to enter into when you purchase your system. So it's not a pure aftermarket in the legal sense. And so I might say all that stuff in a video this week. I might not. But I don't know that it's super interesting for people that followed, especially Epic versus Apple already. Fair
enough. Good call. I didn't know anything about it. I saw kind of the news clips, right, that this was moving forward, but I didn't know any of the details.
All that happened this last week is that the class was allowed to certify, which means it's allowed to move forward as a lawsuit. And then you go into the merits, and I fully expect the actual lawsuit to lose. So it's a little preemptive, in my view, to report on, but people are interested in it. People have asked me about it. And so I might. But one of the things I'm still dealing with really at the channel and virtual legality and whatnot is I do think that when you cover things, and I don't pretend to be the arbiter of this, certainly on my little YouTube channel, but when you cover things, I think it lends a certain amount of importance that I don't necessarily want to just lend to things that I think are a little bit early to even worry about for most people.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
Could we just say our laundry list before we leave
Yeah.
of the other forgotten games without like all the comments? Just because I'm sure Hogue and I probably have a ton of games we didn't list, right?
I have a few more. I
have
mean,
two
we
posted
could probably talk. We could talk a ton about it. Go ahead if you have other ones you want to call out.
I have no.
Yeah,
Cool.
I want to call out This Bed We Made, which is a on Steam right now. It's a mystery game.
It's also on your PlayStation.
Is it on PlayStation?
Yes, it's also
I
on
did
your
not know
PlayStation.
that.
I've been
Great.
playing that. Do you want to be a maid that investigates people in the hotel rooms that she covers? It's
Is this the one where you look through like the peepholes and stuff?
You don't look through peepholes. That's the CDI game we talked about last week.
Okay.
That's the game that
right.
Hogue definitely played.
The CDI is not available.
Yeah.
I did not say I didn't play it. I just said I wasn't allowed to play it.
Oh, the truth comes out, and your dad's in the chat. Grounded, bro. Grounded
From 20 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, This Bed We Made is on there. Remnant 2. I would be remiss if I did not mention that I think that game has been forgotten, and it makes me sad. Honestly, Jedi Survivor, I feel like got forgotten a little bit. Dave the Diver is nominated, so maybe it doesn't belong on the list, but it does deserve a shout out because it's so damn cool, and I feel like not enough people have played it. Blasphemous 2, super cool game. Trine 5, definitely overlooked, great game. Dune Spice Wars. Payday 3 would be better if their support and online worked, but
Yeah, I was
still,
gonna
think
say
that-
you guys reviewed that one. You and Zach.
Yeah,
both.
and my review read like, yeah, this game is clearly better than the second one on a foundational level, but we're in for a rough ride. And then immediately after that, the game was like down for 2 days. So,
did you say Last of Us 2?
He did, and I don't know why. I was going to ask.
Yeah,
you.
you said Last of Us 2, and I was really I didn't know if you
No,
were
I
making a
said
joke.
Blasphemous 2. It does sound similar though. It does sound similar.
I swear to God, I thought you said Last of Us 2.
Blasphemous 2.
Go to the tape.
Blasphemous. It does sound really similar though. You blink twice, and you'll totally. Anyway, Lamplighters League is another one. I feel like
I have not. I downloaded that. I haven't played it, but it looks cool.
Not enough people played that one. Detective Pikachu Returns is on my list. Honkai Star Rail. I feel like probably a lot of people.
A lot
are
of
playing
Hope
that,
notes here.
By the way, we have a Guybrush sighting that says he said Last of Us 2.
I mean, I think they misheard me, but I'll whatever. Yeah.
Everybody.
Endless
person.
Dungeon. Not enough people played that one. Coral Island, which actually just came out, but it's been in beta for a while. Cassette Beasts, which I'm sure is on Hogue's list as well.
Cassette Beasts is on my list, 100%.
Very highly rated game.
Stray
talked about that
Gods,
the other week.
which I know Hogue and I played, and is probably on his list.
Stray Gods is on the list.
And then also Leica Aged Through Blood, which certainly not enough people played, but that game is damn amazing. Everybody should play that one.
Cool.
I would like to copy Travis a little bit and say Dune Spice Wars is well worth your time. Dredge.
Yep.
Talos 2, which I don't think you want to forget. If you're into puzzle games at all, I think in a different year it would have been as well regarded as something like Portal. War Tales. I talked about Age of Wonders already. Terra Nil.
Yeah.
Which is the kind of reverse city builder, environment builder game that I think is...
I didn't put that one on my list because I knew you would.
Very well done.
Yeah, great
Banished Vault is a game in which you are essentially religious zealots that have been sent out to colonize a planet and have gotten lost and have to figure out how to restore your cryogenic freezing chamber in order to get to your next place while playing a board game about resource management. So Banished Vault is a lot of fun. Check that one out. And I think I might have covered everything here. Chance of Senar, I don't think anybody's referenced, but I like that one. That is available on your PlayStation as well. Probably your Xbox. I don't know.
Nice. We do have a comment I want to get to too with a recommendation. Bang on balls.
Yeah.
You
Definitely
That's the
recommend
worst
it.
$24 I ever spent. I mean, like
It
I
is
hate
not. You
myself.
bought 3 turkeys this week. It's not the worst $24 you've ever spent.
No, I buy 5.
I don't think Dan, Travis, or myself connected with it quite as well as Ains did.
I know. That's fair. That's fair.
I thought it was like,
Stupid. That's
a
a
goofy
Guys
good
didn't
little
play it
game.
enough.
Say it.
I don't know why
It's a
Dan
little
bought
game.
it.
Yeah, I would not
You
have
were like,
expected Dan.
"Oh,
to
it's
buy
so good." It's just like,
you were raving about it, and I feel like that was an
Raving.
over.
Hold
you
on.
oversold it a little bit.
But I described the game. Dan does not play platforming collectathons. You should know this.
I do not. Generally, I thought this was.
And I
like a
said
step
very
above.
clearly that
was
that's
not.
all the game is. It had nothing else to it.
There's
So,
nothing to it. It's
there's
terrible.
a lot to it.
Not even a Puerto Rican flag.
You haven't even played
Putting
it.
that out
You
there.
haven't
There is a
played it. You
Puerto
probably
Rican
played it for
flag.
10
You have to
minutes.
click
There's
on the
not a
U.S.
Puerto Rican
flag,
flag.
and then you drill down. There is a Puerto Rican flag, though.
Well, look, maybe it's Cuba.
No.
But
If
not Puerto
it's
Rican.
there, you just have to click on American flag first. It's under like a
I think
sub
it's
menu.
Texas. I think what you're thinking about is Texas because it's kind of.
Oh, it's the Confederate flag. Sorry, I got mixed up. I forgot they put that in the game.
I did have another one on my list, which I was going to call out for you, Hogue, which is the Telltale series of Expanse.
Yeah, I wound up not liking that as much as I wanted to. So I don't
Okay.
think it's forgotten, but it's also not one that
How much did you want to like it?
I really wanted to like it a lot. I mean, I'm a big Expanse fan.
We called out Bolt Gun. You talked about Company of Heroes 3 last week, I believe, in our Game
I
of the
did
Year.
not. No, I just said that it wasn't worthy of the real time. It wasn't worthy of the strategy sim category.
Oh, I misheard you then. Okay, that's my fault.
No, that's okay.
Trying to see if there was anything else on my list that I had as well. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Call that out as a not asymmetrical, but like a multiplayer horror game.
It is asymmetrical.
It is asymmetrical, I guess. As well. Yeah, but
and they have different objectives,
Zach reviewed that for us. Big horror guy, and the horror people I speak to that play horror games really, really enjoy TCM. So, heard great things about that.
It's good. When I played it early on, it had a lot of issues, which I think some of that has been washed away. But like, if you its foundation is strong. It's a good idea for a game.
Yeah, awesome. The only other thing I noticed going through this list, unless the date was wrong on the list, I'll preface with that, is that Flashback 2 came out last week. How did I miss this?
Flashback 2 did come out.
Yeah, it's
I missed it.
I previewed it and it was not strong when I previewed it.
It didn't look great from the trailer.
It really missed the mark on a lot of ways. I actually don't even know how that game turned out. It had like a bike motorcycle mini game in when I played it that might not be in it by the time it released, because I don't know, the dev was clearly having trouble during that one when they demoed it for us. Like, the game kept crashing and I was going through textures and getting stuck in the walls and stuff, and we had to reset it a bunch of times. So I'm not really surprised that one's been forgotten, but yeah, it did come out. I played Flashback 1 for the first time this year in anticipation of playing Flashback 2. So I'd never played it before. I played that whole game and I was like, oh, this game's pretty good. And then I played Flashback 2 and I was like,
Flashback was pretty incredible when it released. I mean, we're going back 35 years probably, but
yeah,
I had fun with it this year. I played it on Xbox. It was good.
Fully animated and had a lot of the cool stuff for that era and Out of This World Flashback.
Out of This World.
Kissing Cousins.
I like Out of This World too.
Kissing Cousins. Yeah. Okay. All right. The only other game I had on here, by the way, this is neither here nor there really, but Persona 4 Golden released beginning of this year on all the new consoles. So if I had liked Persona 5, you're in that kind of JRPG mode. Persona 4 Golden, I only played it on the Vita a few years ago now, but fantastic game, if you like that kind of style. And then, of course, I'll talk about one other little game, probably game of the year is Resident Evil 4 Remake. Don't miss that one.
I don't think anybody's forgotten it.
Yeah, never.
Leon.
Leon.
What do you think, gents?
I think that's good. I think there's a lot of good stuff for people interested in playing games.
And just as a reminder, next year is expected to be pretty light from what we know about all the developers out there and what they're working on. There's not a lot of huge titles that are really planned.
You say that, man, but I got Infinite Wealth. I got Rebirth in the first 2 months of the year. I got.
And then
Eiyuden
what do you have
Chronicles-
for the last 4 months of the year?
Okay, well, they never announced those early. So I got Eiyuden Chronicles at some point. I got the Suikoden remake.
We got Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, I'm actually pumped about. That's also
Suicide
February.
Squad will be cool. Yeah, I think the second half of the year is gonna be pretty light, but you could be right. I'm kind of excited for it to be a lighter year because it would be nice to be able to breathe in between these reviews, but also because my backlog is really, really dense right now. So,
Infinite Wealth, Suicide Squad, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a big 4-week sequence there. So I'm not
It's a good
worried
start
about
to the year.
2024.
I was one of the things I was going to quickly mention because someone asked about it last week was Space Marine 2, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, which we actually got an official press release from Focus this week, which is that's delayed to the second half of 2024. So I don't think that's a gigantic AAA release, right? But that is one game we know is coming later. And then their other game that they were previewing this year, Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, is now set for February 13th. So
Yeah, you said that in the notes, but I think that one we knew that was delayed a couple of months ago.
Banishers, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was just
Oh,
part of that combined press release.
I was supposed to review that one. Is that why that didn't happen? It got delayed?
Yeah, it's in
February 13th now. Yeah,
There you
so
go.
if you're reviewing it, probably end of January. You may see that.
What could say Valentine's Day more than hunting ghosts?
Yeah, together. It's a duo game, I think, anywhere. So what are your
love it.
bets? Place your bet. Is Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out next year?
No.
I would say 18
I think we bet
months.
on that already, but just asking anyway.
No, I think it's 2025.
2025.
I think
Yeah,
even
I'd
if they say it's 2024, it'll actually be 2025.
Honestly, I'd assume whatever they say. If they say a date in the trailer, I would just add 1 to whatever increment they give.
Me too.
Yeah, probably very fair. Very fair. All right, boys. I think we will go ahead and wrap it on up. The only other thing I'll shout out, Brian over at SG did a review of The Last Faith, which has gotten some press. It is a 2D pixel art Souls-like Metroidvania. So
It
mix
looks
all those
really
things.
good in trailers. It's a little bit on the expensive side.
What in the hell?
See, Dan, I'm
Yeah.
not recommending you play this because I know you wouldn't like it. Don't buy it. But no,
It's a little
it
cheaper though. I'm definitely gonna buy that one. That game looks cool. It
Yeah,
just
it
looked a
looks
little
really-
too much like Blasphemous 2. Like Last of Us 2, as you guys call it. I just got done playing that, so I don't know if I'm ready for another game like that.
So Brian's review, he put over 70 hours into the game. He did have a couple issues with it, significant issues in terms of some of the puzzle and level design, but otherwise he's very, very high on it. He gave it a 7 overall, but he said that the art style, the animation, kind of the, everything that makes it enjoyable to play outside of the issues he had with a couple of these things you can read in his review, it's very strong. So that's up on the site if you want to check that out.
It's gorgeous in trailers. I actually think it looks a lot better than Blasphemous in trailer form. I haven't played it.
Yeah, he had it really high. We were talking about his review yesterday, and I asked him about it, and he said it's absolutely stunning. And he said the music and the sound design is just as good as the visual presentation. So I think it sounds like a very good job on that. So, by the way, before I pass it to you guys, RJH says Skull and Bones next year.
Oh yeah, when do we get to play Skull and Bones?
I've played it.
Play it for the 4th time? How many times have we played that game?
I'll tell you this. I played that game and it seems done. Like from what I played, I was like, this game's pretty much done. You can kind of feel
that'll
it
definitely be out
listening
next
to it.
year.
Yeah.
How it will be, we don't know, but it'll be
Will
out.
it make a splash or will it be a drop in the bucket?
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Nope.
Oh boy.
Nope.
I'm gonna go to home first so Travis can stop talking. Oh, what you got?
Well, as we talked about last week, I'm trying to do videos more regularly on the channel. So there should be an early week video of some kind and a late week video of some kind going into next week. I do think we can make a small announcement here, which is that at some point in December, I think we are likely to have a Christmas special of hopefully your favorite Lawyers and Dragons.
Nice.
We're trying to put that together behind the scenes. We'll see how it works out, but I don't think we're going to do a weekly thing like we have been doing for the other seasons because it's just a lot trickier to get everybody together and ready for that every single week. But I do think we might have a Christmas special on the horizon.
That's awesome. That'd be great.
Or holiday special, depending on
Holiday
what your
special.
proclivity is.
Speaking of which, I'm seeing that documentary tomorrow night. A Disturbance on the Force. It's about the Star Wars holiday special. Currently has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I'm excited to see what that's about.
Nice, very cool. Awesome, Hug. Thank you very much, Travis. What you got?
I've got nothing. I'm doing a preview. I'm doing 2 reviews. I can't talk about any of it, but I'm working on stuff. And next Sunday, I probably won't be able to talk about it either. So I'm benched for a while in terms of stuff I can speak on, just because of a small gap in my schedule. And I'm winding things down, man. I've got 2 reviews left for the year, probably only 1 preview.
Are you doing Avatar, or did you say that's a no? Okay.
No, somebody else is doing that one. But I did resolve to buy it and play it. So I will probably play that with some of my spare time. But no, my next 2 reviews are the Anacrusis, which I already told you guys about. I played the preview and I'm waiting for the 1.0 version to end up in my hands, which it still isn't, which makes me a little nervous. And then I start my review of Asgard's Wrath 2 in 2 days. So those are going to keep me plenty busy through to the end of the year. But yeah, not a lot to promote this week. Just happy to be here and miss you guys. Miss you 3 people I've never met before in person.
True. Very true. All right, gentlemen. Chat, you've been awesome today. Thanks for everyone tuning in as always. Always appreciate you. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving and week. Sadly, for many of us, back to normality tomorrow.
Boo.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. But anyway, hope you're enjoying your games.
We all go back to work, Travis.
Normal life.
Oh, you guys stopped.
Yeah.
Casuals.
Yeah. We stopped.
I go back to my life without adversity or struggle. You know how it is.
With your dad supporting your dreams, you selfish.
Gosh. What a casual.
Yeah.
Playing life on easy mode over there, am I right?
No wonder you can't hang with Elden Ring, bro.
Oh, man. All right. That's a good point to close out on. Chat. See you later. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Love everyone. Peace. We'll see you. Bye. Next week, Sunday. Be there. See ya. Peace.